What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rick Rico. Welcome back to the Ozone. Today we got a special one for you, like always. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys comment, and I'm gonna send it over to Dennis.
Hey, what's up, Rick, man? Thank you again for the set. As always, bro, we appreciate everything you do, man. We got an interesting one today, man. A couple gentlemen that honestly I can say I learn a lot from these guys, man, and I look up to them in a way because they set the bar very high, and I think we're going to get into some very interesting conversations. Yes, today, our first guest is Jonathan Garvey. He is the owner and CEO of Pancho's Blanket. Jonathan's, founded Feed a Family, which is a non-profit organization that's fed just under 60,000 people over in Tlaxcala, Mexico. He's also, previous Marine Corps, served two tours in Afghanistan, and he did some high private security contracting as a tactical commander, and he's done a couple deployments, with that. And, guys, also brown belt Jiu-jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's really easy to brag about Jonathan, man, because he does a lot. He's also a real estate agent, and hell, what else does he do? I know he does some poetry. He sings. He's a model. I'm telling you, it's really easy to brag about this guy, Jonathan. Man, thank you for being in the set today, bro.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And our next guest is Steve Howe.
Howe.
Okay, Howe. A powerhouse business, fitness, and faith. He's the CEO of Nexus Air Fiber and CFO of AeroDeploy. Yeah. With over 6 years driving growth in tech and telecom, with a background in accounting and a career built on strategy and service. Steve also leads beyond the boardroom. He's a founder of Gun Jitsu Dojo.
Yeah, Gun Jitsu Dojo, yeah.
I'm going to say it, a tactical training center in Kansas City. And also an elite fitness coach at Space Performance. Is that right?
Not fitness coach. No, I teach with Paul.
Okay. As a committed member of the Holy Smokes Bible Study, Steve empowers men in faith and leadership. So that's what we have today.
Yes. I met both of them actually in the Bible study group, Holy Smokes. And, I guess before we even get into the conversation today, Jonathan, if you wouldn't mind opening us up with a prayer, brother.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, Lord, we thank you for this day, and we recognize your presence. And I pray that our conversations would glorify you and all lead to Christ, that you would speak through us and to us. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, man. Thank you, both of you guys, for being here on a Saturday. You guys could be doing anything, so I appreciate you guys being here. And I had an agenda for this conversation, but I wanted to flow organically. I'm so curious about a lot of things because I feel like I know you guys, but there's still so much to know. So let's start maybe with your background and in the military, and if you want to share a little bit about that, what that experience was like and how did it shape you.
The military, I went there when I was 18, joined the Marine Corps, but I was homeschooled in Mexico before that.
Okay.
Because my parents were missionaries, so I just grew up planting churches with them and doing things like hiking towards villages that were devastated. For example, this one time there was a village devastated by a ton of rain, and so big landslides happened, and they had no access to the outside world, and even the military wasn't going in. So we just filled up a bunch of backpacks. We went down and we just started to feed people. So essentially, that's really where the Feed a Family initiative started, was with them just deciding to be missionaries. And it was really interesting going into the Marine Corps out of that, because in general, boot camp is designed to culture shock everybody. And it culture shocked the heck out of me because I was, just a missionary kid in the Marine Corps. All my reference was movies, Full Metal Jacket.
Did you mention your age when you started?
18.
18.
Yeah.
So almost like you don't have a normal experience because you didn't go to high school here or anything, right?
Yeah, no.
And so
No, it was a lot of culture shock because I couldn't relate to anybody.
yeah.
All I at least I knew how to speak English, so it was good that I could speak with everybody.
Yeah.
But when they were doing popular references, pop culture references, I had zero clue what the heck was going on.
Wow.
And so, and it's a dark world. It's just dark vibes, dark. It's brutal culture, right? So I didn't understand the edge of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Which there it's another level, right? They joke about
Your
eating
insecurities.
babies and cooking them, and you're like, are you guys serious? You people are detestable, horrible humans. But now I get it. Now I understand it was the culture, and it came from back in the day. The Marines were called baby killers because in Vietnam they were accused of killing babies, and so they embraced that and they call themselves baby killers. A lot of them. And I was in the infantry, so that was the dark side of the Marine Corps. A lot of the Marine Corps is not like this. So someone's going to be there and be like, "That would never happen in the Marine Corps." Yeah, it happens. And, I mean, not baby killing, but that doesn't happen. But just in general, that culture of we're going to expose you to the most brutal, horrible aspect of humanity, so as to kind of brainwash you into killing when we need you to kill.
All right.
And they even made us read books like On Killing. And the whole culture is about just killing people. That's why they'll say, hey, go do this, roger that. And everybody has to say, kill bodies or kill or stuff like that, right? And we think it's not important. But when psychologically you start to input the language of even affirmation, which is saying yes, instead of saying yes, you say kill. When they say, hey, we're going to go there and we're going to blow this stuff up and do all these things, well, it becomes a lot easier. You dehumanize people. Even the silhouettes, they started to use silhouettes instead of boxes as targets, I think, in Vietnam. And the kill ratio went up like crazy.
Right.
And especially because a silhouette isn't necessarily front facing forward, but it's someone running away. And so the kill ratio goes up even way more exponentially when the adversary is retreating. So there's a lot of things, like they're professionals at making killers, right?
Why the Marine Corps, or out of all the branches, like what made you go in the Marines?
I just thought it was the toughest. When 9/11 happened, I remember, we invaded Iraq, and there was this image on Fox News, because my mom was always watching Fox News, and that's why I'm a conservative today. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. But there was this image, and it was these Marines coming off of this helicopter. And I was like, Mom, who are those guys? And there was like they were Marines, and they had these huge backpacks on. They looked like giants. And I was like, who are them? And she was like, oh, they're Marines. I'm like, and I was like, well, who are they? And she's like, well, they're the best. She had no idea. Yeah. She doesn't know that they think that. But I was like, I'm going to be a Marine one day. And I was 12. And I just had that in my head. It stuck. And when I turned 18, I joined the Marine Corps, and I was Hilo Company in India. And so literally I did the exact thing that I saw in that image, which is funny because we were doing missions and going on those same helicopters. I forgot what they were called, Ospreys. And so we were just, and it was torture because the packs were so freaking heavy, and you have to run off of these helicopters. People were breaking their ankles and establishing security and staying out there for who knows how long.
Months at a time, probably, huh?
No, those missions were short. It was just a few days at a time as we were in country, though.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, man. So at what point did you came from Mexico to the States?
When I joined the Marine Corps.
Is that right?
Yeah, I went to North Carolina, went into MEPS, straight to boot camp, and then they stationed me in Hawaii.
Where in Mexico are you from?
Tlaxcala.
Oh, Tlaxcala. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
My parents are still there, and my brother.
Okay.
You're Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't know.
¿Cómo se dice? A huevo.
Yeah. Right on. And I know, Steve, you might as well have been in the military because you train like you have. I mean, your tactical combat training is something that like brought a lot of like just curiosity, because I've seen, your post, and I see some of what you guys do at the range, and I'm like, man, these guys are preparing, man. I don't know what they're prepared for, but I mean, this looks serious. So like what, can you tell me a little bit about that experience and what got you into that?
Yeah, it's funny. You had your epiphany at 12. I had mine at 13 that, I was going to the military. Like that was what I was going to do. My dad was in the Guard. My grandpa was in the Navy. My great grandpa was in World War II, so it was like, I was like just a given. I was going to join the military.
All right. Right.
But yeah, no, I ended up starting college real early and getting academic scholarships, go UMKC. So
right.
I think at 21, that's when I was going to go Marine Corps OCS. So I did my mess, my interview, got all that passed. I was like, you can do whatever you want to do. Took my ASVAB, and anyhow, about around that time, my dad had a heart attack, and he had been. It's funny because I was the first one like go to college and finish out, and he was like, "Oh, just quit, just come work for me. You'll make more money doing this." I was like, "No, I'm going to finish it." And I'd been working in my dad's business, since I was a kid. And so, so I'd like to say, all right, Lord, well, I'll go ahead and do this for a while. And, but anyhow, about that time, so I grew up doing martial arts since I was about 4 or 5 years old. So it was something that's always been, part of my growing up. I never did any sports, just martial arts. And one of the instructors and friends of mine that I grew up with, she ended up marrying a police officer, and who ran the SWAT team here in the Kansas City area. And he had his own private range, so I got invited out one point, and, for years, I ended up shooting at his range every week, every weekend, and got to train with a lot of those police officers and SWAT guys, and started traveling, doing some training, and going to classes. I'd be the only civilian there, but no one was none the wiser, so I just didn't say anything. I just kept on getting invited to go to all this cool stuff.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was Lord was gracious with me in that it did, was able to satisfy a lot of different interests. Even though I didn't go to the military, I spent a lot of time around military and police, and doing that deal. So that's kind of a short story of kind of how I got into firearms, and turned into having a range where I'm just stuff going out there 3 or 4 times a week. It's pretty fun. That's where I just came from.
Right. Yeah. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, I was going to try to stop home and get cleaned up, but I know I had a bunch of new guys out there. And
what's your pistol of choice?
Glock 17.
Glock 17.
Oh, yeah.
What about you?
M&P 9mm.
9mm.
Yeah.
Okay, I like the 9mm too.
I really liked it. I shot last weekend at his range, his M&P 9mm, and I'm like, man, I like this
the
one.
new M&Ps are good. They're great.
Now, I mean, I feel like I have a lot of training. I mean, I've been trained a lot, but when I went to Steven's range, I did his basic course of pistols.
Do you offer conceal? Carry conceal?
I'm not. No, I don't. I don't have whatever the CCL instructor certification, so to be able to do that. But
he's the best firearms instructor I've ever seen or learned under.
Nice.
And I mean, I've been trained by some of the best, in my opinion.
Give us a run through of like your course. So
I teach what I call performance pistol, and I did that because I taught with a good friend of mine, Paul Van Dunk. He's been in the gun industry for a long time, and he's the one that I was kind of his apprentice there for several years. Still am.
Yeah.
And so not teaching. So there's really 2 major branches of firearms training. I would say there's tactics and there's shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I don't have the credentials for it, even though most of my training's in tactics, I don't teach tactics per se. I just teach shooting. And so what we're looking at is how can we establish a series of metrics to improve our shooting, but also give us a pathway for growing as a shooter. Mm-hmm. It's just like if you were trying to train MMA, you don't go to an MMA gym and then start calling yourself an MMA fighter. You would never do that.
Right.
Well, we do it with shooting. Like it's like, well, I go to the range and shoot in a stall and go, yeah, I shoot all the time. It's like, but doesn't mean you know what you're doing. And so a lot of people don't realize just how good you can get with the pistol. So it's just more about ignorance than anything. So it's like, hey, we can give you guys these metrics to be able to push yourself as a shooter. Like, so one of the things I do at the end of my class, first day class, so I have 100, 200 yard range, and I'll take everyone out with no magnification, and everyone will hit 100, 130 yards with a pistol. And it's like, it can be done. Even first time shooters, I can have people do that. And most people a lot of people struggle hitting out with a rifle, even standing, So it's just covering a lot of fundamentals. And we're covering, grip, stance, sight picture, target acquisition, recoil mitigation, transitioning, how to deal with malfunctions. So it's all the basic elements of your usual pistol course. it's I do spend a lot of time coaching though. It's a lot of individual coaching. So
What's your take on what are they called?
trigger control.
No, fuck, I forgot the name of them. Is it clips? The ones you put on the pistol that make them automatics?
Like auto sears.
No, they're
Butt stocks?
illegal. That you put them on the back.
Bump.
Oh, you're talking bump stocks?
Is it? Is
Yeah,
that what they're
bump
called?
stocks are one. Yeah.
It makes them automatics.
Well, kind of. I mean, it's.
I heard
Not
people are
really.
3D printing these things.
Oh yeah, I think it's the ATF's going to do any which way anything they can do to try to control firearms. I mean, it's real. I think most of everything the ATF does is a joke, but
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't mitigate really any crime, any statistics or things that I've seen. So
Right.
but just means you have to reload more.
No,
That's what that
I
means.
saw a ring footage of some scenario in Chicago, and this guy has one, and
Yeah.
he has it's like a 9mm, and he's got an extended clip, and he's spraying that thing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you're hitting nothing.
Yeah. It's very difficult to shoot accurately in full auto.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize. It's,
And I mean,
you know,
you're talking about a handgun.
oh yeah, even on the handgun, yeah, you're not
Yeah.
really doing anything accurately. I mean,
No.
it's suppressive. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's very difficult to control.
Yeah.
In a handgun, shooting full auto. I've done it. It's fun.
Right,
but
right.
The
it's not
purpose
cheap.
the purpose of machine guns is literally not to hit the thing. It's to suppress
Yeah.
the enemy so that other units can move forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Cover fire.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
cover
Yep.
fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of Call of Duty, huh?
Yeah, that's my tactics right there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I know, man. That so.
Hey, don't knock it, man.
Some of Call of Duty translates.
It does. I've gone paintballing.
Yeah.
It does. I slid
It's
and
a,
all
sim-
that.
it's a simulation.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
simulation, right?
Yeah.
Well, the trigger
Yeah.
definitely translates.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you are using your trigger finger when you're hitting
Yeah.
the button. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the mouse though.
Yeah.
I was keyboard and mouse.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, keyboard
yeah,
and mouse.
same. Yeah.
You're serious.
That's funny.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but you have a group of fellas that go to the range, right? And I mean, what is the culture like around this group? I know you guys are, godly men that do a lot of weapons training, and I've seen some baptisms and and so forth. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so I'm like, man, I can't wait to get out there to the range. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And really see what's
Wait,
happening.
You guys do baptisms at the range?
Yeah.
We'll get into godliness here in a bit, but let's talk about the culture there
Yeah.
first.
So I will say one thing about the firearms industry is, on the range, it is a pretty vulgar, crude place.
Mhm.
A lot of police officers, a lot of military. It's so a lot of that culture translates
Mhm.
to that. And so yeah, there are I do have open range days where it's just like, hey, anybody come, we're going to train, we're going to do some drills and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
most of the training I host is for church security.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically any church in Kansas City area, if they have any interest in training, just come out for an 8-hour course. I don't charge anything when I do those.
Wow.
And then once they go through that course, it's like then I'll have open church training days where we're just network, fellowship, do devotions, and shoot and train.
Mhm.
Because I know that's becoming a growing concern for a lot of congregations. Like, hey, these there's a lot of crazy things happening out there. We need to look out for our congregations and do what we can to ensure their safety and detect those things and address those threats before they ever become issues.
Hmm.
So like even today, there's like 3 different churches coming out today, and so another instructor, a friend of mine, is actually facilitating that. But I want to meet everybody, and yeah, they're just out there training and trying to keep their skills top notch and all that kind of thing. So that culture is pretty cool. And yeah, and then we've had days out there where we'll do some training, we'll do a cookout, bonfire, devotions. Yeah, I've done some baptisms out there, like whole 9 yards, man.
Yeah,
It's a really good time.
I've been wanting to get baptized, man.
We need to do that. We need to do
Seriously,
that. Yeah.
I've been thinking about that for a long time now, and I'm like, man, I got to get to it,
What would that mean to you to get baptized?
I been in this pursuit, right, of just really getting to know Jesus, right? And I think that I call myself a Christian for a very long time, but never really try to live it out. And in the last 2.5 years, especially after my divorce, I think that I wanted to, just set my life in a different course, a different direction, and that involved, giving up things, that were not good for me. I mean, drinking was one of those, and and it's just really to be more present. I started getting a genuine curiosity for Jesus, and who he is, and started digging a little bit more into the word. And that's how I ended up, holy smokes, right? It's just really trying to learn more. And because of this walk that I'm on right now, because I feel like this is going to be an ongoing walk for the rest of my life now, I feel like baptism is one of those things I'm going to do at some point, I'm just waiting.
Have you ever been baptized?
Well, I was baptized when I was a baby, because I was basically born into like the Catholic,
Same.
practice. And so, but nowadays it's just sort of, reaffirming my faith. I feel like I want to do a baptism now, that it would mean more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah. I definitely want to get out there, man. Yeah.
No reason to put it off. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no prerequisite for that other than confessing, Jesus Lord, and believing in your heart, and get baptized and live life anew, man. So
yeah, and that's every day.
Yeah,
that's every day
for sure.
Yeah, but I like I said, in the intro, I look up to you guys because when I see what a man should look like in this day and age, right? I'm like, well, a man should be disciplined. I feel like, and I don't see a whole lot of point of references out there, at least not that I can see, that I know. So whenever I see you guys doing what you do, tactical training, jiu-jitsu, and all this practices and disciplines that take a lot out of you, you know what I mean? Like, it's not easy, you know what I mean? I'm like, I need to expose myself more to that, because in this growth, like I was saying, it was giving up the things that were of comfort and pleasure was just part of the process. Now it's getting exposed to the things that are discomfort and pain, and so that's the direction that I'm heading in. And so when I see you guys doing these things, I'm like, I can definitely see myself doing that, And so jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu was one of those things. I think, Jonathan, I think you just got done with how many rounds today?
12
rounds.
Yeah, I'm beat.
Yeah. and both of you guys are brown belts, right?
Yeah. We just both got promoted here a couple months ago to
the same.
My surprise, I don't think. At least I was not expecting that, but yeah, it's been a long road jiu-jitsu. So
that's how you guys met, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you guys met through Holy Smokes, but I guess that came after, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. There's something interesting that draws men to jiu-jitsu and also Christianity right now. It seems like a lot of people are getting baptized, and I think it's suffering. There's something that draws us to it. But it's progress. But it's what's on the other side of suffering too, which is joy and happiness, because it creates it. Without one, there is no other.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things about jiu-jitsu, or even faith, but jiu-jitsu for sure. When you suffer so much and you're earning the ability to defend yourself, or whatever, narrative you create in your mind. But when you earn that, like, jiu-jitsu is the one martial art you cannot fake your rank.
Mm.
Like, if I roll with a purple belt or a brown belt or a blue belt or a black belt, I'm going to feel that that's your rank typically.
Mm.
It's not like, oh, this person, there's this recent thing that this millionaire got a black belt in 3.5 years, and everybody in the jiu-jitsu community is up in arms about it, because they're like, he bought that. There's no way he got it. Because the average is 10 years to get your black belt.
Yeah. Wow. Of consistent training.
And that's after you get so many injuries, like, there's got to be a deep reason for you to do jiu-jitsu and to stick at it, because you're going to get staph infection. You're going to get your ligaments torn. You could easily rupture something, break something. It happens all the time. And so for you to want to do that and to keep doing it is weird, but a lot of guys love it right now. It's very popular.
That's crazy. Yeah, because I've seen you with like black eyes and like broken ribs and like and I'm like, man, Garvey really putting himself through some shit, man. And I'm like, holy smokes, man. Like,
holy smokes.
What's going on out there with Garvey, man? What is he getting himself into?
What is he hiding?
No. So how long did it take to get that brown belt?
13 years for me. Yeah, I've been training a long time.
13 years?
Yeah.
You said it was a 10-year process?
Yeah, that's the average.
That's the average?
I'm slow. I'm slow at everything. That's because I traveled a lot. So I've trained at Jiu-Jitsu, here in several schools in Kansas City, Iraq, Virginia, Mexico. And so I've jumped to different schools a lot.
How often do you train per week?
Sometimes 2 times, sometimes 3, and sometimes 4. It depends.
Is that the only type of training you do other than
MMA?
MMA? I got you. Do you actually fight in cages or
no?
Just train?
Just train.
I got you.
Just do the sparring, all the hard stuff before getting to the fight.
Yeah.
The fight is psychological.
Yeah.
It's from what I've heard from everybody who fights, it's like you can only do all the work for beforehand, but the actual fight is another beast. It's just so much psychology going on there. So it's impressive. Those guys.
What about you, Steve? How long did it take you to complete your brown belt?
So I started doing judo at 14. And then through that got exposed to BJJ. So I think I made blue belt at 16, 17 years old. So yeah, over 20 years. But I had breaks in there. Wasn't consistent. I go, and back then, back in that day, sound old, there was no black belts like in Kansas City area. Like if you had a blue belt in BJJ, like you're like, oh crap, you know what you're doing. Like, and so you go train with that guy, or a purple belt, or even like, if you were a brown belt, like you were an idol,
So
that's awesome.
In the Marine Corps,
this is a big accomplishment then, huh? There's a brown belt that's like,
yeah.
It's a different club.
But in the Marine Corps, there was this one guy who would beat everybody up. And because they would make us fight each other, they'd be like, they put us in a pit and you guys would have to wrestle. And he would beat everyone. And I asked him, what do you do? And he was like, I'm just a normal blue belt in my gym.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang, bro, it's like magic, whatever you're doing to everybody. Because he was killing everybody. And I was a black belt in Marine Corps martial arts. I thought that meant something. Yeah. But when I got to KC in 2013, I go to HD MMA. And I just got stomped for like 6 months. You know what happens if one guy can hold you down? Another guy can hurt you really bad, right? So he became my motivation. I was like, one day I'm gonna be able to beat him. Brannon was his last name. Brandon, if you're hearing this, I can beat you, bro. He was my motivation, and he's a big reason why I kept going, and it became part of life. So
that's that. Yeah. So what do you guys think that, this tactical training and jiu-jitsu training like has done for you guys, or how has it shaped you?
Me first?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say because I've been doing, like I said, I've been doing martial arts since I was 5 years old. So that kind of culture, I've just been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, there's a lot of believers that do BJJ. I know there's a lot of Christians at our gym, and that's actually how my dad became a believer. He was in the karate school that I grew up in, and he just he knows all these badass black belts, and come to find out they're all Christians. Like, well, he had this whole other idea in his head of what Christian men look like, not that, and so that's one of the ways. That's one of the chief ways Lord led him to be to the Lord. So, but it's, as far as I do. I will say probably one of the biggest things. I had one of my instructors growing up because I've done, quite a few different martial arts. One of my instructors would always say something. He'd always scream at us, "Do or die, do or die!" Like this. Like if any other parent had ever walked in and seen what this instructor was having us do, like you'd think it was child abuse, but it was great. It was perfect. Like he'd make us go run. Like we'd have to go run a half marathon. And legit go fight for 4 hours. No joke. Like that's the kind of stuff it was like old school, like doing splits across chairs, breaking boards and bricks with our fingers. I mean, it was just, I remember one time he had us like, all right, you got, 10 minutes to do 1,000 reps of jump rope. And like, so
Jesus.
which so we like be going quick, and then if we didn't get it that day, go like, all right, you owe me 500 push-ups in 10 minutes. So you try to do 500 push-ups in 10 minutes, and of course, I don't even know if that's possible. I don't know, that's a lot. And it's like, oh, all right, now 500 sit-ups in 10 minutes, and so like, and you would not stop, like he'd be screaming over you and like a drill sergeant, whatnot.
PTSD,
and then
bro.
they'd be like, all right, now like get up, walk around. It's like we couldn't walk. I was like, well, you can't walk, crawl. It's just I'm like a kid thinking like this is, but I loved it. I love the discipline and challenge of it, of pushing myself to the limits, because when you push yourself to your limit, then next time you can go further.
Did you ever feel like it was too much?
No.
Okay.
No, it's like, no, I wanted it.
Yeah.
This was because I found, one of the reasons I enjoyed martial arts so much, because I was a pretty dweebish kind of, my self-perception of myself was pretty a dweebish kid, nerd, and so.
Were you bullied?
Not really. I wasn't really bullied, but I wasn't into sports. I wasn't really good with, with catching balls and throwing balls, that kind of stuff, but I could fight, so I built an identity up in that, I would say that, which the Lord had to break me of that after a while, and still something I got to keep in check. But, there was a big, confidence booster and self-esteem through that culture of just, there's something about beating the absolute shiznit out of each other, and then being grateful for it, and going out and hanging out with your buddies. I used to kickbox a ton, right? And so we used to knock each other out and kick each other senseless. And those are some of my greatest friends, it's like, it's I don't know, it's just really, it's different. It's same thing with jiu-jitsu, it's like, you can grapple trying to strangle each other, make each other tap, trying to break someone's arm, and afterwards, like, oh, that was an awesome, fun match. It's like there's something about it.
All right, right.
It's the suffering, bro, that everybody is attracted to.
Yeah.
When you talk to Marines, they're all reminisce about the greatest times of their lives, which is the worst times of their lives, literally, which was in the Marine Corps. It's like, oh, take me back to Afghanistan and la la la. It's like it's not that Afghanistan, you loved it. It's that you suffered so much and you created a brotherhood that you can't find anywhere else, but because you're not really putting yourself in places of suffering either. Because I feel a big bond with all of the guys that I train jiu-jitsu with.
Do you feel like that's why a lot of them fall to alcoholism?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a cousin.
Loneliness.
I have a cousin who was a Marine. He passed away last year due to alcoholism.
Yeah.
He served in Iraq during the 9/11. Yeah. His name is Duty.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I would say, like, Marines especially should definitely do something like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because it helps them get rid of the boredom. It helps challenge them. It helps create camaraderie and brotherhood through suffering. Because I've never felt like I was going to die in the Marine Corps. I felt like I was going to die many times on the mats. Because people were choking you out. Yeah. You're seeing black, and you got to tap. Or if your ego's too big, your ego will make you pay the price of unconsciousness or breaking a bone or something.
Yeah.
And so it's the suffering that everyone misses.
Right.
But not the suffering, it's the bond and camaraderie that everyone really misses, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu, though. It can be anything else, but if it doesn't challenge you, it's not going to change you.
Yeah.
You got to challenge yourself as hard as you can physically, but physically always translate to mentally. You're not going to do anything great physically if you don't have a strong mind. It's impossible. The mind breaks before the body 100% of the time. Well, 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And you just got to do that.
It's crazy you say that, because we just had a mother of a kid who committed suicide, and they say that when people do that, they're just trying to kill their thoughts. You're trying to kill what they're thinking. They're
quiet the mind.
The mind, yeah.
Yeah,
man, and you're right, man. Like, a lot of times we can endure more physical if we have a strong mind. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a strong guy, but I can endure a lot because my parents built me that way. They implanted, since I was a kid, they implanted thoughts and ways of thinking that later in life I realized that a lot of people didn't get that. And I didn't know I didn't have any value for it until I got older, and I realized that a lot of my friends are my friends because they get that from me. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed also a lot of the people that around my life didn't have a father. And I always wondered, like, why all my friends like that? But it's probably because they were getting some sort of, clues from me or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
for sure.
It's my little spill.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I certainly can appreciate that about you guys, and I've thought about it. I'm like, man, I do weightlifting. The way I've been exposing myself to like that discipline and discomfort, has been cold showers in the morning. Man, that sucked.
No, thank you.
But the meditative practice, also, and just really getting up earlier to be able to hit that. As long as I can start my day out like that, I feel like I can, go through the challenges of the day, no matter what happens. I'm pretty consistent with the training, the weightlifting, 5-6 times a week. And I put some beatings on myself there. I there's no camaraderie there. It's usually just me and the weights, but I've definitely thought about picking up on some training like you guys are doing. I definitely like to do that.
Yeah, and I don't want you to think that I'm all about the gospel of jiu-jitsu, because I do believe in it and it's great. It's not going to save you. It's not going to heal your mind. It could be, just like anything else, something that numbs it, which also the gym does, right? It helps distract you, and at least it's a healthy thing. But alcohol will do the same thing for you, and drugs too sometimes. But obviously it's better to do weightlifting and all that. But if you don't have a good balance and of knowing why you're on the earth, that's what torments, I think, men more than anything, and women, everybody. It's like, why am I here? So why am I doing this? What? And if you don't have the why, then you're just going to be miserable,
right?
Because then pain has no purpose. And when pain has a purpose, like if I was a fighter, then all of the training and stuff I do in the gym, then that's really the why. I do it for mental purposes, right? For it's my therapy. But if there is no why, then it's just suffering for suffering. If you go into the gym and you're burning those muscles and stuff, but you won't get any gains, is it worth it to go to the gym? No, it's not at all. You need the why.
Yeah.
And so, jiu-jitsu is not going to save you. Martial arts is not going to save you. It won't necessarily give you a why. It might be temporarily, but at the end of the day, that's why, I'm a firm believer in that eternal perspective of finding God and Him leading you through the suffering, and He provides the whys in every season. And it sometimes the why in suffering in jiu-jitsu is one thing, and God reveals it to you. Sometimes the why and the suffering in business, creating a new business, and He shows you, but it's all part of a bigger picture, or else it hurts for no reason. And life is going to hurt, period.
Right. Exactly. I definitely agree with you on that 100%. Yeah, it would be it's kind of like what what Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, right? Everything is meaningless, right? Unless but definitely, man, I agree with that statement. Wouldn't you say, Steve?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I look, I've I got to speak at another men's group here a couple weeks ago, and I got a pretty crazy past, like all the things I accomplished, all the things I did. All the things I'm still doing and everything. And I was a very performance oriented, and not saying I still am, but as far as having my identity and what things I did, right? Whether it was, black belts I did, the fights I won, the tournaments I go to, the college degrees, the businesses I started, the people I managed, then the shooting career. And also, I had all these different accolades, and I was very performance driven. And of course, all the while I had all these people, pat me on the back going, "Oh, you're doing so great," and so you build an identity in all the things you accomplish and do. And I think, and you can absolutely, and so it can look like success to the world,
right?
But that's an identity that's based on something it's so temporal, like it's not going to last, and it's going to fade away. And I think that's one of the lessons that I learned in my 20s. I'm still learning, of course, that there's no greater identity than in Christ, like that, because that's an eternal, that's independent of anything we've done. It's independent of everything we can do, and it's wholly contingent on something that Jesus did 2,000 years ago.
Right.
And so that identity, no one can take away. That identity can't be added to, because that's like there's no greater identity than to be called, sons of the living God. And so, it's really, it's a really interesting struggle and dynamic for me, to where, I still like to be very disciplined in all these different things I do, but not get my identity from it. It's like, it's trying to do those things trying to accomplish and do these things and be disciplined from a place of identity and not for an identity, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, there's a security, there's an insecurity that comes from when anytime you're chasing identity in the things of this world, because it's something that can be taken away from you
At any
you
time.
know, at any time, right? And so it's constantly under threat, and so it constantly has to be reinforced, rebuilt, or you constantly got to be puffed up in some way or another. You got to listen to however many motivational speakers every other day to get you riled back up again, as opposed to it's like, hey, my identity's in Christ. This cannot be taken away. I've come wholly, completely secure, and that I think is how we walk as truly the men we're called to walk as. When our hearts and our minds and who we are is secured in Christ. So
yeah, I love what you said there, man. I'm starting to understand that. It's taken me a long time, but I truly believe that. I do, and it's a walk. You know, as the years go by, you know, I'm feeling closer to him. But there is a verse that I remember from as I can't remember where I read it, but it says, you can't come to me unless the Father brings you to me. And he was speaking to his disciples, you know, and I feel like that's what the Father has done, is bring me to Jesus, you know. And now I'm at this stage of my life where I want to know more of him. You know, I'm curious now, you know, and that's where I'm currently at, man. And that's why I appreciate you guys, you know, teachings in Holy Smokes, is because I feel like that's the first time I've been in sort of fellowship. This entire time I've always just kind of done it myself, or, you know, go to church, you know, and just be there for a certain amount of time and then leave and then do the same thing on Sunday. But you never really learn, you know, about Jesus, you know, and you guys got a way to teach that in Holy Smokes for sure. Yeah. How did Holy Smokes come about?
I used to go to this other Holy Smokes in Iraq when I was working for Blackwater or Triple Canopy. And it was really cool because the people who were part of this group, they would just come. It was on the U.S. Embassy. They would come with normal clothes because they weren't in uniform. And it was like these older gentlemen. You have no idea who they are. And they like to smoke a cigar and just talk about the Bible. Very informal by a fire pit. And we weren't allowed to drink because we were always armed and always had to be ready just in case anything happened. But we could smoke cigars. So they'd get together and we'd smoke cigars, and then I would lead worship in Baghdaddy's, which was the little bar that we would turn into a church on the weekends. And then we would have people from all over the Green Zone come to our services, which were diplomats from the UN, diplomats from, you know, the United States Embassy, and they would, some of these older guys from our Holy Smokes, they would help me arrange chairs, and they would help, you know, just really nice, humble guys. And I remember that we had the Marine Corps ball, and I went to it, but I went in a suit because I wouldn't use my dress blues ever again, especially with this hair, you know, you wear your uniform. And so I saw these guys in their uniform, and then I realized, whoa, this guy who was helping me pull chairs together and stuff is a freaking 1-star general, a colonel, stacked. One guy who I became good friends with, he was in charge of all the special forces in the Middle East. He was like a heavy hitter. And because of Holy Smokes, just getting together smoking, it created a bridge from, and I was a corporal in the Marine Corps, never ever talked to brass, right? You never talk to a guy who's an officer. Officer is the dark side. And I would never rub shoulders with someone like this. But because of Holy Smokes, that guy was there. We would have a young Marine who was part of the security team. He would be there, and he was probably just an E3 Lance Corporal, talking to the general, talking to the colonel who's in charge of everything. And I was like, that's a really cool, unique way to create community. And so I brought that back to Kansas City, and I just felt like I'm gonna put it out there on social media. If anybody wants to join me for a Bible study, I'm gonna go to Cultura Cigars and smoke. And that Steven showed up first day, and We've been doing it together ever since. Just haven't.
That's awesome.
We just keep going every Thursday.
2.5 years? Has it been 2.5 years?
2 years, I think.
Because I thought we started in winter.
I don't know.
Shout out to all the boys at Holy Smokes, Big Mike, Carl, Jason, Juan, and all the fellas out there that, come together on Thursdays to just smoke cigars and discuss the word of God, man. It's a great group. It's a great group of fellas, man. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we need more of that, man. I honestly don't think there's enough of it, But besides switching gears here real quick, besides jiu-jitsu and tactical training, you guys are big entrepreneurs, right? Both of you guys. I mean, Jonathan, you got Pancho's Blanket. You have a shop down at the Crossroads, right on 18th.
Yep.
Actually, I'm rocking one of your shirts right now, man.
Looks good.
I do like the gear you have. I can't find shirts like this anywhere else. So
they're pretty unique.
You got a great selection there, man. Tell us a little bit about Pancho's Blanket, bro.
Yeah, thank you for wearing that shirt. Looks good.
Yeah,
it's definitely made for guys who lift. I just started designing clothes in Mexico because, COVID happened. We started Feed a Family, our nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, how are we going to keep on providing for the nonprofit? Well, why don't we start selling ponchos and blankets? And a poncho is a blanket.
Yeah.
But it's just with a hole in the middle. And we're like, well, if you can wear a blanket with a hole in the middle, you can call anything a poncho then.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a jacket and you could call it a poncho.
Mm-hmm.
So we started to really explore with it, and then we're like, oh, let's call it Pancho's Blanket, and we'll make a bunch of jackets out of wool. And when the whole nation essentially was shut down, artisans used to never really work with you about designs or anything. They'd be like, this is what we made, this is what it is. But during that time there wasn't a lot of work, so they were like, we'll do anything you want. We'll modify it for you as much as you want. So we started to modify it and create our own designs that were still artisanally made.
Is it in Tlaxcala también?
Yep, Tlaxcala.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of our stuff we make with foot pedal looms, right? So the stuff that the Spaniards brought from Mexico 500 years ago, we still use those methods to produce our wool and to produce our repurposed fibers that
local indigenous
artisans.
Yeah. What are their in Tlaxcala? What is their tribe, or because I just came from Oaxaca and they have a lot of the same sewing practices, but down there you have Zapotecas and Mixtecos, and they each have ways of doing things. So I don't know what
Oaxaca has beautiful artisanal stuff for sure, but every state has its unique own artisanal methods and type of designs. Tlaxcala, they were not conquered by the Spaniards, but I mean they weren't conquered by the Aztecs. They allied themselves with the Spaniards because they had a mutual enemy. And with the Spaniards, they conquered the Aztecs. And so they became a vassal state to Spain, and their own kind. They had a lot of privileges after doing that. That's why you'll see a bunch of indigenous names in Tlaxcala still, because one of their prizes, if you will, was that they could keep their original names. And so the Tlaxcalans were always enemies of the Aztecs. Mexico didn't exist back then, right? It was the Aztec Empire, Tlaxcalans, and there were other tribes as well. And so that's the history of... So the first place where there was ever a baptism on this whole hemisphere was in Tlaxcala. And the first place that there was ever the Bible even opened was in Tlaxcala too. There's the actual baptismal and the pulpit where they did it there in the town square.
That's an interesting fact. I didn't know.
And
that.
The first missionaries too. They sent out 40 missionary families from Tlaxcala to go spread the gospel. Now, you can always argue the ethics behind how they did things, because they were pretty brutal sometimes. But I find it interesting how it was a replacement of human sacrifices, which Cortez, if you read his biography, when he got to Mexico City, he was appalled by the pagan sacrifices that were blood, that it was blood ankle deep all along the streets of people.
He was a Spaniard guy, right?
Yeah, he was the Spanish.
He's the guy that the shoes
Was named after?
was named after.
Hmm.
Yeah. Cortez.
Yeah.
The Cortezes, the Nike Cortezes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
I'm surprised they weren't canceled for that. That's
That's what I was telling.
polarizing figure.
That's what I was telling John. I was like, bro, Mexicans wear those things religiously.
Well, it's because some Mexicans love Cortez, but some of them detest them. It depends on like what side of the aisle you're on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were, so it's interesting how religion will always demand the blood of the most innocent of the community to atone for the sins of everyone. It's part of the DNA of religion. It's in every single religion. And so there, they were sacrificing virgins. They were torturing little kids until they had no more tears to cry. And then they would kill them on the altars.
Wow.
And you're talking about, I mean, I used to give tour guides in Cholula, Puebla, where they had these pyramids, and you can still see the blood stains 500 years later.
That's insane.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were
on what, rocks or
on rocks.
Wow.
Well, on the stones, on the altars, because the altars are still there. It's the biggest pyramid in the world because of how.
How do they conserve the stains, or are they just in the rocks?
Sometimes
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
like-
Sometimes I think it's just like the conditions and the temperature and the weather. And it's something.
Yeah.
It's like
it's similar
fossilized.
Similar to the momias.
Las momias de Guanajuato.
And how they preserve. It was just temperature conditions and altitude and just the right combination to keep it.
Yeah. And so it was a pretty rough nation state, both Tlaxcala and the Aztecs. And so replacing it stopped human sacrifices. And some people really hate the idea of colonization from them, but it was replacing that evil with a different kind of religious expression for sure.
So you get your textiles from there, working with the locals, and they're now designing things specifically for Pancho's blanket.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we've done a few collections that sometimes we'll do 1 coat, 2 coats, made to order. We haven't really done we've done some collections that are just more mass produced out of repurposed fibers, but in general, if we're using foot pedal looms to make your coat, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
That
is, and they're good quality blankets. I mean, and jackets, and you should go check out his selection.
Yeah. Do you make for heavier dudes?
Yeah. Because
I don't know about that shit.
Man. But there is another component to Pancho's blanket, right? It's tied into charity as well, right?
Yeah, so Feed a Family is the nonprofit that we're linked to, or that I started before doing Pancho's blanket. And when COVID happened, everybody didn't have access to food. A lot of people didn't have access to food in Mexico. And so my parents started a community kitchen, and I was like, why don't you guys start a GoFundMe to let people know what you guys are doing? Nobody even knows that you guys are feeding all these people. And my mom has a cool story. There's this one family that they called it the miracle food, because every time they would come, it was only once a week, they would give them a jug of beans and a bag of rice and a guisado, which is some kind of meat or stew, right?
Yeah. Like a stir fry.
Yeah. And it would be for a family of like 5 people. And every time they would come, she would get just her one package, take it home, and she said it would last her all week.
Oh, wow.
And then she'd come back and get another one. And you're talking like one meal for 5 people all week. And I'm like, that's cool. I sure hope that's true. I really do, because that's really neat.
Yeah.
And so far we've fed over 70,000 people, or we've provided 70,000 meals, because every single week they open up the community kitchen and they cook and feed people who come.
That's
So,
awesome. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's at 50. What is it? 501c3?
501c3?
Yeah. Okay. Right on. And you established that yourself here?
Yeah. So it's technically registered here, but it's a really simple infrastructure to where what we do with that money is we just buy the food. Sometimes we buy clothing for different people. Sometimes we get toys and stuff and take them to children's hospitals. So it's all over the place. But really, we provide the food for the people, and the volunteers from my parents' church are the people who cook it and hand it out.
Gotcha.
So
Right
thank
on.
God for volunteers.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's always room for service.
Gracias a Dios.
Yes, gracias a Dios, gracias. Steve, you too. You have some businesses that you started yourself. You've always been an entrepreneur, though, right? Since you finished school and kind of went on to doing it with your dad and started a few businesses yourself, right?
Yeah, no, both my dad and my grandpa are pretty entrepreneurial too. So I had that kind of stick since I was a kid.
That itch, huh?
I did several things as a teenager and through college. I was painting houses and all that kind of stuff, and then took over my dad's companies, and then I started two more under his umbrella of corporations that we started doing other things with, and so yeah, just a lot of different things, and then straight into trying to start a software company and lost a lot of money doing that, and then finally with this started telecom Nexus, and which I guess you got all that stuff online. I was like, you guys did some research here.
Yeah.
And then AeroDeploy, which is a drone aerial survey company. So, but
Well, explain AeroDeploy. What?
Yeah. So what we do is we are using drone. We're consulting with our clients on how to implement drone technologies into their business process. So we work. Most of our consistent work is in telecom and agriculture.
Okay.
So for like agriculture, one things that we work with, things we do is we'll scan each farm field 6 times throughout a season, and we're looking for plant fatality, vigor, threat detection, threat identification, so we can tell you what bug is being as infested your crop.
You're doing this with drones?
Yep, doing all drones. So we're doing
Are these
data capture.
Are these special drones?
Yeah, some of them are. They're all DJI. So some
but they're available to anyone,
Yeah.
or are these military drones?
No. They're available to anyone. They're available to anyone. They're expensive. We issue. It's like a $15,000-$20,000 kit we issue to each pilot. It's not cheap. But yeah, they have a pretty crazy camera and they can do a lot of zoom
I got a
in.
buddy who Kyle. He's a licensed drone pilot.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm sure it'll be interesting. That's why I asked you.
Oh yeah, tell them to sign
Yeah.
up on our network. We got a network of contractor pilots that we want to that we partner with all across the country. We've done close to 1 million acres of scanning so far this year.
Nice. He loves to fly. It might be something you might be interested
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, do a lot of work in telecom, building VR models of telecom towers, thermal inspection of buildings. We did a big project here a while ago for Spectrum, just, taking pictures of power poles for a whole city. Just it's a lot of crazy stuff, and there's just more and more applications that they're finding every day.
Is it through this business that you do storm chasing and the towers and all this, or what's going on?
So to give you the full story, I kind of have to go way back. So one of the things I did, so I ran my dad's companies for him for about 5 years, 6 years out of college. And then Lord was directing me to, get out of that. And so I was working on the drone company and a software company kind of concurrently during the day. And about that time, I had a friend of mine that kind of grew up with, and he was like, hey, by the way, if you want to be a bondsman, we actually have an opening if you want to take the phones at night. And so I had always heard the crazy stories about him going and bounty hunting and all that kind of stuff. I guess I could do that at night and keep some money coming in.
Yeah.
And so I got my license being a bondsman for the state of Missouri. And
that's insane.
Dude, it was nuts. It
Yeah.
was absolutely insane.
I bet you got some stories.
Oh yeah, crazy stories. I lost count. Somewhere between 200 and 300 arrests I did over a 5-year period.
Wow.
Yeah.
I traveled out of state, arresting people, bringing them back home, and it was nutty. But anyhow,
Did you go after the Chiefsaholic guy?
the what?
Did you guys hear about that guy?
No.
The super fan, the guy that used to dress like a wolf?
What about him?
He
had a warrant?
No, he was robbing banks
Oh, really?
all over the country. That's
Oh,
how he was
geez.
making it to every. So the Chiefs are starting to, we're getting to the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
This guy is in the front behind the Chiefs at every game, and everyone's wondering how is he paying for these tickets. He was robbing banks
Wow.
everywhere.
Yeah. No.
They should make a documentary
They
out of that
already
guy.
have it. It's on Netflix.
Oh, let's go. I'm going to watch that.
Check it
Great
out.
idea. Somebody already did
Sponsor
it.
us. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
But yeah, so I did a lot of crazy stuff. But during that time, one of the friends that I was so my primarily what I did was like people got arrested and they had bonds and they'd call me. And so I worked with a general agent and I was self-employed, but I just had the phone forwarded to my number for certain hours of the day. And so that's what most work was. But then when someone didn't go to court, it's like, all right, now we got to go pick them up. And so one of my good friends from childhood, one thing he started streaming on Facebook Live, like while we were in the car. And I was like, this is a bad idea. Like, we're like people, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like this is pretty
like
edgy as it
like
is.
bounty hunter, right?
Yeah,
sort of.
Oh yeah. So so he'd get you get like 15, 20 people watching us. And I will say, when you're in a car for 4 hours doing a stakeout, it makes the time go by fast. So then he started doing it on Twitch. And then he wasn't bounty hunting with me all the time. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll make my own Twitch account because, at least it makes time pass, just answering people's questions and junk.
Yeah.
And so I made my own Twitch account and I started streaming bounty hunting while I was in the car and it blew up. Like it was pretty crazy. So it got to the point where, I had news broadcast gear, like all my body armor and I'd have camera switching and go to my Tahoe and then back to live stream first person as soon as I step out of the truck. I mean, it was like 6-second delay and
all automated. All automated or
no, not all automated. I had a bunch of my mods would like have access to OBS remote, like use, and they'd be able to cut. I had it set up to where they got the live feed, and it was like a few seconds ahead of what Twitch saw. So if something got too crazy, they could cut it to like a highlight reel or something. And so I did all that. The way I got into storm chasing was one of the guys and friends of mine now that he ran a pretty large storm chasing network in the U.S. Saw my stream. Is like, how the heck are you streaming in 1080p with very little delay and no interruptions and all this kind of stuff? And you're going out in the country, you're going homes. Like, how's this happening? And I kind of explained to him, so, hey, can I drive in and see how you built this? And so, well, yeah, sure, come on in. So he drove down and went out for barbecue. And showed him the backpack, and he goes, "Well, hey, can you help build me one?" I'm like, "Yes," because he was a storm chaser. He actually was he was a meteorologist and all that. And so one of the things they do is they try to live stream all this stuff. And so helped him build his own kit and how I did it and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, "By the way, you want to be a storm chaser?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So chasing storms. That was, oh my gosh, that is probably one of the most fun things I've ever done. Oh yeah,
this guy's
running around the country in a convoy of other storm chasers looking for tornadoes, and just oh man, it is a blast. It's like it's one of those things that you kind of watch on Twister, and it's like, oh, it's not that cool. No, it is that cool. I mean, it's very much like that.
I'm very much the same way. Every time we've had a tornado warning, I'm outside.
For sure.
Where's it at? I want to see it.
I've been hit by tornadoes. I've been, chasing. I mean, it's been cool. My very first, actually, I think it was my second or third time storm chasing ever. We were down in Monroe, Louisiana. We were chasing some tornado cells going through, or pretty big storm cells going from Texas into Louisiana. And there's a school that caught fire or something like that. So I'm live streaming it. And the owner of the company calls me and goes, "Hey, the Weather Channel wants to buy your live stream." He says like, "Don't move." I'm like, "Okay." I got to sit on the tripod. And I'm also doing this on Twitch. So I'm live streaming everything on Twitch too when I'm storm chasing. But I also had it set up to where any news station could pick that feed up. And it's like, okay, so I'm like, great, I'm making money. Like, this is the first time I made money. It's like only my second or third time doing this. And then he calls me back, goes, "Hey, by the way, the Weather Channel wants you to do a live on-air interview." I was like, oh, frick. It's like, okay. It's like, what's your phone number? So they're giving all this information, all this kind of stuff. So they call me to an on-air interview. And so I actually have it screenshot on my Instagram page. It says Storm Chaser Stephen Howe. And it's got my feed that I'm live streaming and giving intel on that. But, try to get to the way I got into tower climbing was the buddy of mine that got me into shooting. He lives out in the country, of course, and he has crap internet. And so I was because I was playing with like wireless HDMI receivers, transceivers. I was kind of getting a Wi-Fi. I was really involved with that kind of tech. And one of my mods actually had dealt with WISP technology, which is wireless internet service provider. So I was trying to beam internet to my buddy Neil so I could get internet so I could stream on his range, and anyhow, trying to make a long story short, I was playing with all that. And eventually at one point he had his neighbor come by and said, "Hey, we're trying to get a petition to attract an internet service provider to come to our area to get internet." And so Neil calls me and goes, "Hey, a neighbor of mine's got like 20 signatures for an internet service to come service the area. Can I give him your number?" because we were trying to get him internet and trying to play on Steam. I was like, sure. So that's how it started. And that was in 2018. And then 2019 in the spring is when I launched, which was right in the middle of COVID. Mm-hmm. And I thought we goofed up because I had fiber leases, tower leases, just spent $1,000 getting all this equipment in place. I didn't even know if we could cross state lines. Like, we're like, are there like the telecommunication guys, the essential workers? Like, just there are all those questions. Mm-hmm. It was crazy. I probably worked 70, 80-hour weeks for 4 or 5 months straight because everyone was at home and trying to do school from home and work from home. And no one had internet in these areas we're going to. So, wow. So over the past 5-6 years, we installed about 800 homes around Kansas City and businesses and providing them internet with wireless technology. So,
how tall are these towers that you're claiming?
So we're one of the highest deployed WISPs in the country. We've deployed some of our deployments are as high as 750, 800 feet. Yeah, which is crazy stupid high.
All right, which you yourself are getting up there in these towers, right?
It costs the market rate that we found for paying someone, like another company, come do service work on our tower is about $3,000 per climber per day. Wow. And so I was like, yeah, screw that. I'm going to figure out how to do this myself. So I went to Colorado, went to a tower climbing school out there for a few days, came back and like started climbing myself. So I probably done close to 200 climbs on some of those towers. So I've saved myself a lot of money.
Right.
But yeah,
but that was probably nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah. No, dude, I had a fear of flight or heights before I did that.
Really?
Yeah.
I had a chance to do that job.
Yeah.
But myself.
Yep.
I can go up high, but it depends on what I'm on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Mamba, I can ride the Mamba.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's safe, right?
That's safe, yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember my very first time I climbed to that height. We actually had paid someone to install some equipment on a radio tower at 750 feet. And so, but we had to adjust the angle of the sector. So I'm like, well, we're not paying somebody to go out there and do it. I'll do it. So I climbed. I get up to the top of this thing and I am shaking. Like my nerves I'm just shot nerves wise. It's like deadlifting a ton of weight and you're just like completely almost shut down.
Froze, probably.
Oh yeah. But I'm getting it done. And so I radio my ground crew. I'm like, hey, which sector am I adjusting? Like I'm losing all sense of what direction I'm going. He goes, the north one. I'm like, which way's north? He goes, look down at the road. You'll see this. I'm like, guys, look up. You can't see me. I'm in the clouds.
Oh,
wow.
Like
I was literally in the clouds. Zero visibility of the ground.
Wow.
And I'm like trying to get oriented to figure out where the heck am I? I mean, it was pretty
north and
oh man, it was.
How much time does it take to reach the peak?
That height's probably about. I mean, right now, probably hour 20 minutes.
Okay.
Just climbing the ladder. Yeah.
And then going down is about the same?
It depends how much fast I want to get down. Probably about 45 minutes to get down.
So it's faster to come down?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just less.
As it always is, huh?
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a little bit faster to come down, but it also depends on how long I've been up there because it's exhausting. And I'm a bigger guy. I'm not a typical tower climber. I'm 225 pounds. Like most tower climbers are like sub 200 by quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so it takes a lot more for me to get up there and down. So, but yeah, hopefully not doing that much longer anymore. That company's being bought, so I can stop doing that because I don't have a fear of heights anymore. It just gets old after a while because it's like 2 or 3 days of recovering after that because just like you know all that strain in your arms, like getting shin splints in your forearms. It's pretty rough.
I remember when I was getting in, or when I had the opportunity to do that job, they were telling me that I was going to climb 3 to 4 towers a week, and I was like.
Well, those are probably small towers too. Those are like 200-foot towers. Most tower climbers, I would say 89% of them don't climb any higher than 300 feet usually because that's where most of your cell work is. I'm almost 3 times that. And so it's a very select few, a very small portion of tower climbers that go that high because one, if something happens to you, you're pretty much dead. Yeah. You know, no ladder can get to you. You know, it takes too long for someone to get up there to try to recover your body and all that kind of stuff. So it's very dangerous in terms of the risk. Like if I'm doing electrical work up there sometimes, like God forbid, I've touched hot lines. I've been irradiated. Like there's just a lot of bad stuff could happen up there. And
have you watched the movie Climb?
I have not. I've seen clips of it. To me, it's probably too cringy.
I mean, for someone who's never done it, it touched me on the fear. I was like,
Well, I got live stream footage on Twitch. I used to live stream tower climbing too.
Yeah.
You know, and people be like, "This is nuts. What are you doing up there?" I'm like, "Oh, just another day at the office." You know?
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I've seen some of those too.
Yeah.
Those look pretty wicked.
That's the thing. I got 12 terabytes of that kind of footage, and probably should post it and
Just post it, man.
yeah, and see it, but so people can check it out because
Yeah.
it's a pretty crazy. I will say, very like seeing sunsets up there. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. You know, it's like it's no better view.
Does it sway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like being on a boat.
Don't freak me out.
Oh my
It
God.
freaks me out, dude. I remember one time we actually replacing everything up at 800 feet, and we had to haul it down. And so the ground crew had the rope, and I had the pulley up there, so they're letting everything down. They didn't keep enough tension on it, so it got caught in a guy wire. And I was like, "Frick, you guys!" So it's like at 400 feet outside in this big wire, trying to hold up this tower. And so they start yanking on it, and the way that the physics works on a tower, just by them yanking on it, and I'm on a 1,000-foot tower, is moving it like this. And I was freaking out. So I said, "Stop, whatever you're doing. Like, I'm going to get flung off this thing or this tower's going to come down." I've had nightmares of towers coming down while I'm on them. Like, that's there's nothing you can do. Like,
That's crazy.
that's the biggest fear of tower climbing. It's like, man, something happens while I'm up here.
Has that been the biggest fear that you had to overcome?
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I didn't do that job because of the fear.
really.
I didn't.
Well, see, it's funny because it was because of the fear that I wanted to do it too.
Yeah.
That was like, hey, I don't like being intimidated by things. You know, I even like getting in the ring. Like you mentioned the psychological aspect of getting in the ring. Like that is nerve wracking.
Yeah.
That's why I had to do it. Like that's why I was like, all right, I gotta get over this. You know.
I got a taste of it with Spectrum, but you know, it's nothing compared to that.
Yeah.
You know, but some of the pulls were in sketchy areas.
Yeah.
You couldn't put the ladder in the right place. I was like, this ain't for me.
Yeah. It ain't for everybody. Yeah. No, for sure. It's it can be pretty crazy.
Me neither.
Oh man, I you know, a lot of what you guys do and have done is pretty impressive. But one of the things that I really admire about you both is you both are godly men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's very important. And you know, let's just kind of switch gears and go there right now. You know, in terms of your faith and you know, maybe even kind of take the conversation a little bit of how it goes in Holy Smokes, right? What we discuss about, you know, the word and, you know, and take it in that direction. So I don't know who wants to, you know, start that.
Yeah, I would say trying to be godly is more accurate.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, you know, and in the darkness sometimes, but referencing what you said before is Jesus said, "No one comes to me unless they're called by the Father."
Mm-hmm.
And then what Jesus said to Nicodemus is, it's a mystery when someone is born again. Being baptized is a representation of that,
Mm-hmm.
is being born again. It symbolizes it, and I do believe that it's a good thing to do, but it symbolizes the mystery of being born again, which Jesus didn't even fully answer
Mm-hmm.
when Nicodemus asked him, "How am I to be born again?" And Jesus is like, "Oh, like the wind blows from the east to the west, so is a man born again. I don't know what to tell you."
Mhm.
Pretty much. And there's a big mystery to that. And Holy Smokes is really, we try not to get too much into the weeds of the things that are more philosophical than practical.
Mm.
Because when you do that about any topic, you get overwhelmed with the details. You know, if you start, and you get bored too, really, really fast. If you get into the details of shooting and the mechanics of shooting, and you go into, oh, well, the firing pin has to hit blah, 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 and then at this trajectory. If it's not for everybody, some people who really like that kind of stuff, sure. But most people are going to be like, bro, especially beginners, they're going to be like, just show me, how do I pull the trigger? How do I make my groups tight so I can defend myself, basically?
Mm-hmm.
And so with Holy Smokes, I feel like we try to stick to the basics of, hey, the answer is Jesus to whatever you're going through, your problems. You don't have to be perfect. That's why we got guys come and they drink a whiskey, or they smoke a cigar, or they drop F-bombs all the time. It doesn't matter. It's not a religious
Group. Yeah.
It's not religious at all.
Mm-mm.
But it's very practical.
Right. And I like that. That's what attracted me to it, because it doesn't matter what religion you are.
Yeah.
You're welcome to the conversation, and we're not going to agree on everything, but we can agree on Jesus.
Right.
And at least we could take the conversation from there.
Yeah, and it gives a really comfortable space for a lot of guys, because guys who are struggling with something like, they're like, oh, I cheated on my wife, or I'm going through a divorce, I did cocaine and I relapsed. Like, there's all these things, and they feel safe telling us, because we're not going to judge them, because we are so imperfect too, and we're going through our own stuff. But it's so important to have camaraderie and to confess your sins to one another, because when you keep it all in, you will never feel forgiven. If you take something you did before to the grave, it's such a big burden and weight. You got to say it to somebody. And that's why the confessing is so popular. It's like, oh, I'm not really going to be seen by the priest beside me, but I get to tell him all the things. I'm going to feel better after doing so many Hail Marys or whatever. Well, there's a lot of psychological truth to that, but there's even deeper reconciliation when you speak and you confess knowing that you did something wrong to a brother, and he encourages you and helps build you up, tells you, hey, bro, it's okay. This is what the scripture says about it. Let's repent to the Lord together and keep on trucking, Yeah,
no, 100%. And, like, Steve, you lead a lot of the, the sessions. And I think one of the things that I was able to identify with is, like, you're very eloquent in the way you say it, and you inspire a lot of trust too. So when I hear what you're teaching, it lands for me, and so I certainly appreciate the way you're leading these sessions, But what can you tell us more about, Holy Smokes, and just, trying to be godly?
Yeah, and that's a lot. I mean, we did. It took us. We started doing 1 John here like 3-4 months ago, so it took us a long time.
I was with you guys through most of it.
Yeah. So that's probably why I've been doing most of the sessions of late. But because I'm a slow, I hate going so fast through the word. There's there's so much that you can miss.
How long are the sessions?
Oh man, sometimes I would say usually an hour and 45 is probably on average.
Okay.
And. But heck, there's been a lot of times I stick behind, and man, I'm not leaving there till 11 o'clock at night talking to a few other guys. I mean, it's a good time.
Yeah.
But as far as and I think Garvey's got the same idea. It's like we're coming at this more as facilitators. When we go to church on Sunday, we all get talked at there. There's no chance to dialogue. And to converse. I mean, even like last weekend or week before last, I just felt compelled. I was praying about one, I like using the scripture and the word as a jumping off point, but I just felt like, hey, does anybody have anything they wanted to share, or a question they had, and Andrew ended up sharing some stuff, and that kind of we were addressing all things that he was dealing with, and it was very, very good and encouraging. And then it's like it's like, come with the plan, but I'm ready to throw the plan out the window if the Lord leads elsewhere. And because we don't get that opportunity to do that on Sunday, So this time it's like, hey, this is a time when we can each encourage one another, exhort one another. And so my hope, I guess, is when I, whatever aspect I lead or facilitate, is I just want to be the guardrails to keep us centered on the Lord. Like that's, and whatever we talk about, it's like, as long as our focus is Christ, it'll be edifying. It'll be encouraging.
Yeah.
Because you can even have Bible study for the sake of studying the Bible and completely miss Christ. And even Jesus says that you search the scriptures, think that in them you'll find life, and you don't come to me. Like, he makes a distinction between going to the Bible and coming to him. And you miss the point if you read the word and you don't come away with Christ.
How many people do you normally host?
I mean, it's like 5 to 17. I mean, it's like,
It depends.
50. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that come and go.
Oh, yeah.
And which is fine.
The smaller the group, the better. Most times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lot more. You lose intimacy once you get much more past 10 or 12.
Yeah.
But we, it's been good. I mean, most everyone goes to different churches. Only a few of us go to the same church or whatever, and that's fine. It's not denomination or anything. It's just men wanting to pursue the Lord together, you know, in a different environment.
Fellowship.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I said, it's the first time I ever experienced it because
how many have you gone to?
During the Lenten period, I was there every week. And prior to that, I had been to a couple. Here
Yeah.
recently, I haven't been, but I've been missing. Going back, or I've been doing some of my own studies on my own time, and but it's definitely a group that has like influenced me
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
I've always had a hard time learning about the Bible on my own because I can't read. I hate reading. I hate it. My ADHD is two
Same.
lines and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So hearing has always been my way, and then on the podcast, like I love having, like we had Black Rob. Black Rob's tatted all down, and I met him at a car show and he prayed for me and I was like, what? You're going to pray for me? You know what I'm saying? It just threw me off. But I love like hearing testimonies like that because it brings that curiosity of me of when was that turning point for him? What caused that turning point? Because then I can reflect in my life and then be like, am I there or what do I need to do to get there? You know what I mean? But as far as reading, like I've always had that. It's always been hard for me to dig in there.
Well, I think though too. I think like pursuing the Lord is not something it's not an individual pursuit.
No.
It's something that's supposed to do in a fellowship.
Yeah.
In a family. Like the model of what the church is supposed to, like when we think of church, we think of a building you go to on Sundays. At least most of us, especially Americans, think that. That was not that's not how they viewed church, back in the first century. The model of the church was actually the family, which is why they use terms like elders and brothers and sisters and fathers and mothers. These are all family terms to describe what the church was supposed to be.
They always say.
Unfortunately, for a lot of people, we've modeled the church out of a corporation and as opposed to a family. And so,
because they say church starts at home.
It absolutely starts at home, and I think it ends at home too. I mean, like that was if we want to get really down into it, that was the original model of what the church was what it looked like to meet in homes. I mean, it was usually they suspect no more than 15, 20 people per home, in a community of a bunch of other small churches. And
do you guys feel like that's where you got your introduction to Jesus? Was at home with your parents?
100%.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah,
same with me.
Yeah.
My introduction was at home with my parents, but my actual test of faith was through my daughter when me and her mom split. That's when it got personal for me. That's when I had to put in that work and actually grab onto faith.
Why was it then?
Because it was just it was something that I just grew up in. You know what I mean? And I hadn't really had anything that was like test worthy, I guess, in my life until her mom and her moved away, and I had to figure out how to keep living without her presence.
Yeah, that's rough.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's like the tragedy / it's not tragedy because it's just the reality, but I feel bad when I have a friend or know someone who they just don't care about God, they don't care about religion, they don't want anything to do with it, because I'm like, man, that stinks, because maybe the only way that God is going to get your attention is through suffering. Is through breaking you down. Like, I've never met anybody who's going through hell and back and was like, God, they'll be mad at God, or they're going to cry out to him.
Yeah, we have, we've I'm not going to say who, but we've had people who've gone through a lot of suffering, man. And it's like, you look at them, you're like, when are you going to just, let God start working on it? But they just keep being mad and mad and mad. And it's like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you need to think. Thank God anyway. You know what I mean? Because that's the way, for me, it's like, when I do a good deed, I feel good about myself. That's the way I heal myself. Because if I do bad, then it just gets worse. You know what I'm saying? I just look at myself worse. So to me, I've always had to fight it. Like, if I want to change how I feel about myself, I got to change what I do. I got to change. I got to be good to someone to feel good about myself. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, man, I've gotten a lot out of the conversations, and obviously you guys are a couple men that are pursuing godliness and righteousness, and that's ever chase, right? I mean, like it's gonna be ongoing. But one of the topics we talked about discussing was masculinity, right? And and you mentioned it, so I'm gonna kind of let you lead that topic, and maybe we could tie it into godliness in some way.
Masculinity as in being like the new toxic masculinity, Andrew Tate.
Yeah, well,
What do you mean?
that depends. It really
let's-
depends
Let's
because
get into that.
because I don't think it's even new because machismo in our community. I mean that
True.
I could tell you that, like growing up, I didn't have a very good example of what a male is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for one, I my father was not in my life, and so thank God I grew up with mostly women at the time, because I don't think I would have had I grew up in a household where it was 7 women and I was the only male, right? Yeah, and
Wow.
but strong women. You guys. I don't know if you guys know my mother. I think you know my mother.
Yeah.
My great grandmother.
Very strong.
My great grandmother. I attribute a lot of who I am to her, because basically, she raised me from the age of a year and a half old until I was 15 years old. But there was never a good example of what a man's supposed to look like. Normally, my dad would come to Guatemala to visit, and I remember one particular experience. I never actually shared this on the podcast, where this machismo idea of being a man was losing your virginity. That you
Yeah, that's pretty common.
right,
Yeah.
and so when I was 8 years old, he went down to Guatemala. And he thought it was a great idea to take my cousin, who was 12 years old at the time, and me to a prostitution house.
When you were 8?
When I was 8.
Dear God.
Yeah, and basically just to lose our virginity, right?
Wow.
Right, and
Oh, to
You
be
know,
8 again.
my cousin actually lost his virginity that day. I was terrified. I was, man. I just remember just being terrified, right? And I went in this room. This woman, dropped her clothes, and
Wow.
I froze.
Wow.
And she just pulled her clothes back up and took me by the hand, and she took him. It's like, hey, yeah, no, he's not ready. But that was, you know what I mean? That was like,
That's crazy though, being that woman. Like, why would you even take your clothes off? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
you're talking about a third world country,
Yeah,
man.
I know.
It's incredible though.
We're
that age.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
And so but there was just this idea of that's what the rite of passage was, right?
You were
This-
8?
8. That was the idea
First-
of what the rite of passage was supposed to be, is losing your virginity,
Yeah.
and the sooner you could get it out of the way, the better it was, or whatever the case may be. But men tend to be cheaters, in this machismo era, right? And females would, be cheated on, mistreated for the most part. And like I said, I was fortunate that I was raised by a group of strong women, and I got to see their pain, And
Yeah.
so, it shaped me definitely,
Right.
to have experienced their side, you know what I mean, and to not have as much exposure to the machismo that was so like prevalent in those in those times in Latin America. I feel like the machismo mostly comes from Latin America. I don't know of any other maybe the Middle East, possibly. I don't know.
I think it's everywhere. It's just different versions of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
machismo is a Spanish form of it.
Yeah.
Because it's a Spanish word.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's toxic whatever masculinity definitely in the Middle East,
Yeah.
where in Afghanistan, for example, when I was there, the women I never saw a full-grown woman, because they were all covered. They had to cover themselves, but they would abuse little boys, as they would use them as prostitutes, because women were for having children and the little boys are for pleasure. So they would be called bachiba boys, I think. So they would wear makeup and bells. So they had bells. It was weird. But I mean, that's extreme
Yeah.
oppression. But it's sexual oppression. It's just over everyone, just in general.
Right.
Different expression.
And so it's pretty wild, man. Just where and I feel like the where we're at right now in terms of like masculinity, right? We're seeing the pendulum swing completely the other way, right? Where now men don't know exactly how to function outside of that, right? And so, like some of the stuff, like kind of preparing for this podcast, I was listening to some podcasts. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Diary of a CEO.
Good podcast.
It's a great podcast. And they were talking about in one of those segments where men nowadays are less likely to have kids, purchase a home. They're more likely to be basically play games in a basement, pornography, and just sort of like this
podcast.
And so like this, this culture around men now, where it's like, what's going on,
Yeah.
and so that's why I think that it's good to have examples of
Yeah.
of success stories, I guess you can call them, of men being out here actually doing something,
Your American got kids? I didn't know about
creating,
that.
creating.
I play video games in my basement.
But creating businesses,
Yeah.
getting into activities that are meaningful and build character and so forth.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you guys got anything to add on to that.
The pendulum swing you're talking about, I think it's coming from like the fourth wave feminism, where women have been very upset about, in my opinion, the masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And now masculinity is starting to come back with a hard punch to that narrative, to where it's like, all right, well, men, your value comes off of how much money you make, how high your body count is, if you got a Bugatti, right? Like, what does Andrew Tate would say?
A Bugatti.
Bugatti. But do you have a Bugatti? If you don't, then shut up.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that is just a cultural backlash of the West trying to, or not trying to, but empowering women. And then now you have this crazy, weird culture of men not being able to actually get laid, right? So you got guys who are, the top 10% of men are sleeping with the top 90% of women, or whatever it is, especially on Tinder and all the dating sites. It's like very few men are actually going out on dates. And they're and then these women who are, let's say they have a very normal whatever playing job, they're pretty, but they have a 1 night or 2 night stand fling with a guy who's a top tier. He thinks of himself as a super top tier guy. He's like, oh, well, it didn't work out with him, but eventually I'm going to wait and get married to a man just like him and his caliber. But she doesn't realize that guy has like 10 options every night because he's freaking going off on in the DMs, and he's playing the field. And it's creating a horrible, social media in general has created a terrible culture of comparing ourselves to everyone else, of always thinking that you're settling because you saw somebody
doing
on social
better.
Media. Like, you're like, oh, she liked one of my posts, so I could definitely get with her, and then with her, and it creates this insatiable appetite for just attention from other people and not settling and always being the best. Validation. It's bad, bro. And so we are definitely on declining numbers for procreating. Look, me and this guy, we're actually single with no kids. And that's a terrible thing. I don't know how that happened. I think I'm a victim of the social media apparatus.
Oh my goodness.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
Wow, man, that's crazy.
No, I'm kidding.
It's the world's fault.
It's the world's fault.
Yeah.
But it's not the world's fault, but it is, think about all the men who are leaving America, places like that. They're going to Colombia, to Medellin, because they heard that they can get some banging 10 freaking wife who will be submissive.
I know a couple of those,
bro. Right? It's happening. It's and then they get robbed because they get drugged. And they're like, "Oh, bro, what happened to my wallet?" It's like, man, you thought you could go home with a 10. You're a freaking 6. That's what happens, dude. Nah,
you're outside of your range, man.
You went outside of your range. You were punching up, and now you got no money, no passport, and you can't get home. You're still a loser in Colombia.
That's funny because, like, you know, being Hispanic, like me, I was born in Mexico. I came here and
Viva Mexico.
Yeah, like as I grew up, it was always like you go home and get your wife. You know, once you're established here, go home, get your wife. And I knew some guys that went home, got their wife, brought them over here, and you know, down there they realized, oh man, he's this, he's that. They bring him over here. And he's not all that down here. No. He's a normal guy. And now they're like, nah, I'm going to go somewhere.
I'm going to take half of your money. I'm going to go somewhere else.
Thanks for the papers. I'm out.
Thanks for the green card.
Yeah. Thanks for the papers. I'm out.
Oh, man. It's rough. It's rough.
It's rough
man.
out in these streets.
Rough out there.
Serious. Dangerous, man. It's a dangerous field.
Yeah, you know, I was actually reading this book, man. It's called, I don't know if you guys heard of it. It's called The Man the Moment Demands. Jason.
The Man the Moment Demands?
Yeah.
That's a bar.
No, bro, it is.
That's a bar right
Yeah,
there.
bro, it is. Like it is a good book, man. It is a good book. And the premise around the whole book is like, not like being a masculine man, but basically what did he call it? A comprehensive man. Basically, and he goes through every role a man plays, right? Being a father, being a lover, a fighter, a son, and all these roles and what that's supposed to look like. But what he starts with is basically disassociating yourself from any social norms, right? Any cultural expectations, and also any stereotypes. That is the beginning of it, right? That's the beginning of the work, is disassociating yourself with that so that you can allow yourself to be the man the moment demands, you know, so that you can be anything and everything that you need to be at the time that you need to be. So and so it's a pretty great read. You guys should definitely read it. But it landed with me in a lot of different ways, and I feel like I'm kind of in that you know, in that path and figuring out that, right, and figuring out how to be a better father. You know what I mean? How to be a more present father, and that meant, you know, giving up drugs, alcohol. You know. Figuring out how I can, you know, honor my mom, you know, and how to be just a better man the next time I have an opportunity to have a female partner, right, for her, because I know I dropped the ball the first time around. I did. And that was a tough, you know, pill to swallow, right? And so, you know, I was married for 20 years. You know, I got 2 beautiful, you know, daughters out of that. So definitely don't call it a fail. You know, but that definitely sent me in a direction of I gotta do better. I gotta do better. You know.
Yeah,
but definitely, man. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I didn't.
No,
I wasn't expected to just get emotional.
We're having a holy smoke session right now.
Yeah, seriously, man. You know, I guess, you know, sometimes I don't realize it. You know, I think that there's certain parts that I already have like healed and
there's different phases when you go through that healing part. And sometimes it takes a while to acknowledge the part where you went wrong. Because I think as men, we ignore it because it's how we're raised to evade the pain to keep going.
And that somehow is strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when in your case, you know, it's I've been with you since it happened. I saw you the day after it happened. I saw the disparity in your body and your soul and how you were feeling. And to who you are now, bro, you made a lot of progress in such a short time. I can tell. And I can tell you that from as a friend.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that, man. Yeah. I appreciate it. It's been very few people have been with me through that process, and you've been one of those. So
yeah,
certainly appreciate you. And you know, yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I gotta have some grace on myself because I know that I've done a lot of work, and there's more to be done. But you know, but I'm well on my way, and it's like it's like they say, I'm not who I'm supposed to be, but thank God I'm the man I was, man. That's for sure. And thank God for His grace.
Yeah.
That I don't have to do anything for His grace. It's just, I just have to
keep doing right.
Believe in Him.
Exactly. And that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that I actually had to. I learned that in some of the discussions at Holy Smokes, where I think even as I was doing some of those discussions with you guys, I was still beating myself up pretty bad. But I'm starting to understand that you can accept God's grace and feel guilt at the same time.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know what I mean? It's just doesn't happen.
It means you're not receiving His grace.
Right.
That's what that means, right?
Right.
It's like I think there's a part of us that wants to, we say we receive God's grace, but except for this part of my life, or like we segment it, and I think it's one, a lot of it becomes it's lack of faith.
Yeah.
We think that our sin somehow exceeds God's righteousness, or that His love or somehow it goes further in God's love. And it's like, who are you to say that?
I think a lot of times, I think a lot of people forget that they got to forgive themselves too, and they never feel that like fulfillment because they're always waiting for God to forgive them. But the reason why they're feeling the way they're feeling is because they haven't forgave themselves. They haven't allowed themselves to be free from it because they haven't been able to forgive themselves.
Yeah, and a lot of that I think because we're so used to being our own judge.
Yeah.
Right. So we become our own judge, and so we determine when, not God, we determine when we're good.
Right.
And that
it's almost like
that has to die too.
It's almost like we feel like we're trying to. It's so crazy because we don't do it just to ourselves, but we also do it with other people.
Oh, absolutely.
Like God needs us to do His job for Him or something, And it's like, just stop playing God. It's not your role, to judge,
That's I think that's ultimately what the picture in the Garden of Eden is about, right? You have there's two trees that Adam and Eve are presented with. There's the tree of life, which is Jesus. That's what's a picture of. And you have the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or tree of knowledge of what is right and wrong, which is a very weird dynamic. But they're antithetical to one another. They're opposing.
Yeah.
It's like, and what's the very first thing you do when you know the difference between right or wrong? You become a judge. You judge yourself, you judge others, and that's something that's only for God to do, And so, but forsaking that tree and choosing Christ is better, right? But it's forsaking that. It's the same decision to also forsake that tree, to not be judged, and not trying to. For me, and I talk a lot about this because I'm super guilty about this. I'm constantly judging myself and my performance and my successes and failures and all that kind of thing. And I gain so much identity out of it. And it's like the Lord keeps on telling me, put that fruit down. Stop eating at that tree.
It's crazy. It's like you work so hard in the things that you love, right? Like your performance. And then God is like, chill.
Yeah.
And then you're back to square one.
Right,
like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. It's like, why you work? It's good. And again, it's good to work on your fitness and on different disciplines and be successful and all this kind of stuff. That's all good things. It's when we work out of it, we work out of a place of identity. Like I'm trying to establish myself because I have so much. Again, we're talking about grace, not letting grace extend to our lives. It's very difficult for me to receive that in terms of my own self-esteem and self-confidence and all that kind of stuff. It's like, so I have to make up for it in things I do, as opposed to like reconciling that to the Lord, because and as men, we're very, very much so geared that way.
Yeah.
You know, to find, because the world, to what Garvey was saying earlier, the world and especially women are looking at us by our works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're very works oriented.
Mhm.
But when it comes to the Lord, he's like, you can rest, and that's why
Yeah.
Jesus called our Sabbath rest. We rest from our work. There's no more work to be done, and we can rest in it. And out of that place, that's when I think we can really walk in power and as men that we're supposed to walk as, not to get to that place. There's a very subtle difference,
Yeah.
So
I feel like there's a balance. There has to be a balance of
Sure.
everything. You know what I'm saying? Because that performance that you pursue is a part of your mission.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it requires that skill for you to do what God has a purpose for you.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And the people that are going to follow, or the people that are going to follow God through you.
Yeah.
Because everyone's different. Like for me, I used to make music, I used to rap, but I never felt like I could make the same impact with music. I felt like every time I rapped or every time I wrote something, it was negative. It was I had to dig into a very dark place to get something out, and I hated going to that place. At some point, I was healed, but I had to go back to pull something out of there to put out. And I was like, "This is trash, bro. I can't keep doing this. I can't." And then, we've always had conversations. I've always liked having conversations, learning conversations, and that's kind of how the idea. I was like, if I'm gonna put something out, it's got to be a conversation. 'Cause that's the purest thing that I could do. You know what I'm saying? And then return it, we've gained a lot of people like you guys on the podcast that come and talk to us about God and help us with mental problems. And I mean, we've even had discussions about plant medicines and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, there's been a lot
it's
of
been a
people.
ride. It's been a ride.
It's
for
been
sure.
a ride. Yeah, it's been a ride, but there has been a lot of good testimonies
Yeah.
in this podcast.
And as of lately, I feel like we're starting to finally. I feel like this first year has been the grinding. The part where I had it was just more building it. But this year is like when me and Dennis and my homie John, we've been finally starting to get that grind, and now we're starting to like figure out that the stories that we like and the type of content that we want to.
Yeah, the stories that matter. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Rosie's our last episode. That was one of the heaviest.
That was a
Man.
very emotional episode.
Yeah. Even I got emotional on that episode.
Yeah, and now I'm getting emotional. Holy
Wait, that's
smokes.
real. I think people crave realism.
The thing is, like, we forget that when we have conversations that are touching subjects like that, like, you're gonna hit a string. It's not always comedy. It's not always, sometimes
entertainment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta,
confessions.
You gotta do the work. You gotta do the work, and that's why I do like this group, Holy Smokes, because they are out there having this kind of discussions, man. Just not for people to see, but for the people that are there, the men that are there in fellowship to learn, and I appreciate you guys hosting that.
Yeah, one of the things Rosie told me off the podcast. After she lost her son, she was looking for support groups. And she said that she couldn't find any healing through support groups because she said that she went to a support group one day and there was a lady there that was there because she couldn't figure out a way to love her kids. And she's there because she just lost hers. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, so I had to get her. I couldn't do it. I had to leave. I had to. The way that she healed was by talking to her son's friends and listening to the stories and all that. But like, that's crazy because that's something you don't even think about, how sometimes like you're trying to find some sort of, guidance, or you're trying to find God, and then you go to that place and there's something there that's like,
yeah, support is the right idea though. I mean, and in this group in particular, I feel like there's a lot of us there that are there, and we have some things in common, that we're struggling with. A divorce has been one of those, and it's crazy how more and more you see a lot more and more of that happening.
You guys haven't been married?
Never married.
No kids.
I didn't go on my first date till I was 28 years old.
Jesus.
Like, no joke.
Wow.
I was busy.
28, 8. You guys are
20
pretty
years
close.
apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you guys do so much. Where is their time to date? You know what I mean? Like you guys got so much going on. It's like, where is their time to date? You know, you're doing jiu-jitsu, tactical training. You're doing fundraising and entrepreneurs, and I mean, I'm like, how do you? This guys find time to do all this shit? That's what I'm thinking.
I'll tell you one thing. Once you guys get in a relationship, you're gonna have to fight for that time.
I see that. I mean, it's that is it takes that much more effort to prioritize that. Because I know both being self-employed, you know, it's like we have a lot of discretion with our time, I'm sure, you know, but a lot of that time is focused on doing something, you know, with it. And so it's just I mean, I've been in a few relationships. It's been difficult, and I know it will be difficult, especially when I get married. Oh, Lord willing, one day I'm like, all right, I really gotta.
I'm more of the guy that likes to be in the basement playing video games.
Really? I never imagined you'd be that guy, man. Because you're always out there doing something.
Here just chilling.
It's incredible how much time that I find on my hands. I'm like, man, I should be doing something else. I get overwhelmed with all the things that I should be doing. And so what'll happen is I'll shut down and be like, you know what? I'm going to do none of it. None of the urgent things. I'm going to throw it out the window and I'm going to do the things that will get me nothing other than it's
self-gratification.
Progress. It's called fake progress in a way.
Yeah.
It's a different word. I can't find it. But it's essentially you play a video game and you progress through the game. And you feel like, okay, I've progressed. I'm getting stuff done. Yeah. It hits that part of my brain that I would feel if I were getting actual stuff done, and I'll pay for that later.
That's that's crazy to say that because that's how I feel when it comes to social media. I feel like it's a game because I find myself cutting reels sometimes, and I'm trying to figure out how to cut the reel right so I can make an impact out there, and it doesn't, right? And sometimes I got to remember like. Fuck, I gain more from the conversation than I gain from social media. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And my motivation has changed. Like I was telling her earlier, I was like, shoot, sometimes we don't know what we're getting into, but I know that it's happening for a reason. As long as we keep, you know, God involved. Yeah. And but like you said, to me, like social media is becoming a game. I'm starting to learn that there's a lot more to it than just posting. There's a lot of back end stuff that people don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
it's tough.
it's a marketing thing.
Yeah, no,
it's a marketing thing.
Man. I had no social media until I started streaming on Twitch. Like zero. Yeah. And then that blew up. And then, you know, you start getting recognized in public and all this kind of crazy junk. I was like, this is weird. This is bizarre. You know?
What was the time span of that?
As far as
like when you started to when it was like, whoa.
I mean, it like 4 years time, you know, man, I'd have like 60,000 views in one stream on Wednesday night.
Oh, so it wasn't like a month.
No. I streamed for like I think it's just like 4 or 5 years. But yeah,
That's what Ice Cube said. He said, if you don't got 5 years to put into something, don't even do it.
It blew up. And
I agree with that.
But even during that whole time, I hated trying to make content. As far as editing content, like that's why I like live streaming. It's like, you know, you let the viewers clip the crap and I'll repost it somewhere. But golly, trying to sit there and try to edit YouTube videos, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. I ain't doing it.
That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid to get so big to where people are clipping us. Yeah. They're clipping shit that I don't want clipped. Like, damn.
Because we don't edit anything here, man.
Right.
Like, that's one thing, like, you know.
We do, but it's by request.
Yeah.
Just let it ride, bro.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, that's the idea, man, to just be as authentic as possible in this setting, man. Yeah.
That's what people want more than anything. That's why podcasts became big, because it's the long format conversations, but it's hard to clip it. I mean, it's not hard to clip it, but it's hard to edit it out. And they did that like with the Kamala Harris campaign, right? They're like, don't even do it because everyone's going to know that we edited it, and they did, and it was really bad PR. But Joe Rogan, he doesn't edit it, and when they ask him to edit, he's like, no, I'm not going to edit it. And because AI is coming in now, when you see a video and it's someone on AI talking and you hear this AI, you're like, oh crap, I'm scrolling. I don't ever want to talk to anyone on who's AI. I don't want to be an ad be AI, because authenticity, we're losing it. Real humans, we're literally stopping, even on social media. You're not interacting with real humans half of the time. Half of the likes and comments you see on there is a bot.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And I, you know,
that is crazy.
I was thinking about that with TikTok, because you know, right now it's confusing to us because I don't know what platform favors us. Because one video will do good over here, the other one won't, you know. But I know a lot of people prefer TikTok, and I was wondering about that. I'm like, who has these knobs? Who has these triggers that they can just tweak and be like, we're gonna be easier to get to than them, just so we could be the favored platform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy thought. Like, who runs this stuff?
It's the what's the attention economy that we're in now. So, and that it stinks. It's always been that way, but now it's just so more accessible to where if you have a lot of followers, they're going to monetize that because those followers will eventually be buyers of some kind of product.
But they're bought. They're not even. Some of this aren't. You know, it's like fictitious, or you know, you can't even say you gained all those followers because technically you bought them.
He did.
No, but I'm saying
I'm sure a lot of them are bots too for me too. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of them are fake.
No, I've had artists that I've recorded who released videos. Videos did. I mean, there was one time this video did 1 million, and it was crazy because I had 1 million views, but the comments were like, "Great cooking." And I was like, "There's nothing to do with cooking." You know?
Oh my goodness, bro, that's great. Bad AI. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. No, this is pre AI. This is like when I don't know who that was.
Have you heard of the dead internet theory?
No, what is that?
I've heard of it, but I don't recall what it is.
I'm not an expert in it, so I'm gonna botch it. But essentially, a bunch of the internet, and it's going to even be worse down the road because people keep dying, right? But their accounts are still there, and so those are getting taken over by bots, to where eventually most of the internet is going to be all bots and people who died already, but their accounts keep on active, and they count as views. They count as, you know, YouTube will pay you if you get that view. Essentially,
so it pays a family.
What do you mean?
Of the dead one, or
no? I'm just saying, if you like on YouTube, you get several million views.
Bro, I don't want to be liked and followed by dead folks.
Dead internet theory. Look it up. It's interesting.
That's crazy.
You're more popular in the afterlife,
bro. That's crazy. That's disrespectful of the family, right?
Yeah.
You know, seeing
I got 100K followers in the afterlife as we speak.
That's crazy, man.
That's hilarious. I never heard of that. That's wild.
I botched it, I'm sure. So you need to look up dead internet theory, and it's interesting. I know that.
Damn, that's wild, man. Some of the things that we're going to be dealing with is so wild. I don't understand. I don't even know if we're ready for it, man. I mean,
we're not.
We're barely starting with this AI stuff.
Yeah,
and it's moving fast.
I was just thinking, like, on my car ride over here, like, can you imagine having AI when you went to school or college, like, and being able to like your papers and everything, like, and now I'm using it every day. Like I do like a lot of stuff with spreadsheets and database and all that stuff. Like someone just started introducing me to using Copilot, which is like Microsoft's AI.
That's what I've been using.
And I'm a wizard with Excel, but I'm starting to use that, and I'm like, this thing's working so much faster. I'm able to graph it and do all stuff in like a second, and I'm like, yes, it's even though if I know how to do it, it's still faster.
Right, exactly.
And it takes that busy work off of you.
I'm gonna use Copilot.
Yeah, no, it's I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, that's how
I can't work without it anymore.
Yeah, I know.
I use ChatGPT to do my research, and I also use it to help me structure the podcast sometimes. As far as like, because some people like have no experience, you know, and they'll like Jason wants to come tell his story, but he's like, how do I structure it? So I'm like, chat, build me a structure. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I edit it based on how we like it, but that would have took me forever.
So did you know that the Matrix and Terminator is written by the same author, and it's part of the same universe, to where John Connor is essentially, they go to the past to have the baby who represents Jesus, but John Connor represents the Holy Spirit because he never existed, because he went to the past, and then therefore they birthed Neo. Neo frees humanity.
We're talking about Terminator?
Terminator and Matrix are the same. It's the same universe.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Really? Is that true or is that a
No,
theory?
that's 100% true. Because the author, she talked about it, how it's all the same.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but anyways, I say that because it looks like with AI, the Matrix could literally happen in like less than 100 years.
Have you guys heard about
my
quantum
opinion.
computing?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's another thing. The crazy stuff that they can formulate with that computer is ridiculous compared to now. Have you ever heard about that?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of nutty. I can't remember who I was watching, but even with Grok, they're predicting that in the next 5 years that AI actually might like find new laws of physics.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be that level of thinking.
Yeah.
It's like this is nutty.
Yeah.
What
We're gonna be here in the rearview mirror.
But what that
Looked at like we're like flat
Age.
earthers.
Yeah,
Or,
Stone
you know
Agers.
what I mean? Like, oh, those guys.
It's a damn.
Hey,
Those
don't knock
guys
it till you
still-
smoke it. All right?
It's like, dude, those guys still believe in that? This is the new stuff here.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
True,
man.
man.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. It's so much coming at us so fast, but and I'm sure there's going to be some challenges, but there's also going to be some opportunities. It happened with social media, right? How many people ended up, making a living out of it and, and creating business opportunities.
There's always good and there's bad.
Right. Yeah. I guess it just depends of how, approach it, it's going to be here. So how can you leverage it? That's going to be the question,
I think if they offer you eternal life through a chip,
Yeah.
then you need
Turn
to
it
run.
down.
Turn it down. Turn it down.
If they offer you a chip in general, turn it down.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Well, yeah, but we're already carrying
well,
one around.
Yeah.
3
well,
Doritos later.
yeah.
Yeah. It's rough.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, no, it's hard to say if right now, the reproductive rates are bad as they are, right? Relationships seem to be, the family unit seems to be taking a big hit. Divorce, you're starting to see it more and more. I'm wondering what is AI going to do to it? Because now men, like I said, don't want to get in, maybe don't want to or can't get into relationships or whatever the case may be, are not creating families. And now you're going to present them with some options of, let's say, maybe, I don't know, a humanoid that they can buy and have or whatever the case may be. Or maybe even some sort of virtual reality option where you can just space out into this reality where you're, have a happy family and don't have to have an actual family. What is that going to do, right? Even more. I mean, so it's some scary scenarios for real.
I think there'll definitely be a swing. There'll definitely be extremes of that. I think people will definitely go that far.
I think there already is.
But yeah, it is already there.
Yeah.
But then there's also going to be the opposite. I think there's going to be another extreme where it's like, hey, we unplug. Like things are getting way too weird out here, and there will be that desire for authentic relationships, not only with other people
and connection.
Yeah, it's like we got a mutual friend that anytime he has something come up in his life, instead of praying about it, he'll like ask, Grok about or AI about it every once in a while. Like, dude, this is crazy. I've never, the thought process, like, it just blows me away that if I have a personal problem, it's instead of praying about it, it's like, I'm going to ask AI about it. It's like, that's a pretty crazy, it's different to me.
To me.
Can you imagine being born as a kid now and growing up with AI?
Yeah.
Like, what
You'll never know the world differently.
I grew up with dial-up internet in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, but kids now are going to grow up with, AI. I can have AI friends, right? Like on Snapchat or something like these AI buddies. It's like, what the heck is this?
It's so close to social media though, because it's like, I have friends on social media. Every time they give me a like, that gives you that oxytocin hit. That's so similar to when you actually get a pat on the back.
Yeah.
But it gives you what you wanted in the first place. So you're like, I need to post more. I need to, and so it's very similar to that. That's an AI. I mean, it's not AI, but it's not real.
Yeah.
Like Steven liked your picture. oh, that's Steven going like this. But he didn't go like that. He literally did this. And that's not that big of a deal. It's like, I don't need to think.
But that takes a lot.
Yeah.
It does take a lot for a motherfucker to do that.
Well, we think of it like that. We do. It's like, if you don't like it and you kind of...
very privileged.
People actually feel that way, though. They're like, I'm not going to like that. Or I'm not going to follow that guy.
No, because there's people who watch everything I do, but never like it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like the views are not matching the likes, are they?
I was like, yeah, we know you're watching. You know? Our story tells us so.
Just hit the like button. And the subscribe, too.
It's because the monetization of our attention, and so we know that. We're like, I'm not going to give that to you. And we feel like our attention is currency, and it is.
It's submission. It's a machismo thing. Like,
You think that's still around?
I'm not giving him this like. I'm not submitting to his
I'm not giving you my currency.
Exactly.
No oxytocin for you. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Oh, shit. That's crazy, but it's so real, man. It's crazy. Yeah, no, I would say, man, that anything that is just like too easily accessible and produces some sort of high or oxytocin or dopamine hit, like you should just be extremely scared of.
Yeah.
Anything that you don't have to work hard for to get, and it produces that feeling, run the other way.
You guys agree with that?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. A lot of different things. Well, I mean, just kind of going back to, the problem with men not pursuing women anymore. It's like, well, if I got pornography and I got social media, I can look at girls and think about all this kind of stuff and do all this stuff without ever having to engage with the actual woman. It's like it's an easy oxytocin.
Never be rejected.
Right? Never be rejected. Yeah, never have to put in the work. You don't have to put in the effort, and so that's
save a lot of money.
Right. Save a lot of money.
You go to a bar, you spend freaking $50 on some
what was
fancy
Johnny
cocktails.
Saying? He said, Johnny, if you don't bust a nut, you make bad choices. That's what Johnny was saying. I was like, bro, discipline.
But like back to masculinity, though, I feel like men, there's this no fap thing going on, right? Where guys, it's a trend. No porn, no fap. We're not going to jerk off for like a month or 2 months or whatever.
Retention.
Yeah.
Transmutation.
Right. So what is it that men actually value or respect in another man? In my opinion, it's 100% strength. And it's whatever that strength you decide to be on, right? And for me, the man I respect
physical
most,
strength?
No, it's just as a characteristic, just strength in general. That's why guys would get on a weird trend like, oh, I'm not going to jerk off for like a whole month and I'm going to tell everybody about it, right? But when, like, I respect my dad a ton, but I respect him because he was faithful to my mom for years, stayed with my mom, and he's a silver fox, right? He's a good looking dude. But he's so strong in his convictions and in his morals. That's awesome strength. That's something to look up to. When I meet a guy who he's a family man and he has his kids and he's a good dad and he's trying his best in all the areas of his life, I look up to him. I respect him. You don't have to have like, bro, the guys I hate the most are the guys who are like, dude, you see this picture, I hit that. It's like, bro, I don't care how many chicks you've been with. It doesn't give you any credits towards your manhood at all. Can you kill me hand-to-hand combat? That would give you would give you some credit. But if you can't, then you sleeping with a bunch of women definitely doesn't give you any accreditation. I respect a man who can keep it in his pants, who has self-control, who isn't even an alcoholic, right? Who is there's just so many ways to be a good man and to be strong and for other men to look up to you and to follow in those footsteps. And you don't have to sleep with everybody. You don't have to be the meanest machista drunkard who gets in a fight at the bar. Those aren't that cool things. No, they're not cool actually.
They're really easy. That's really easy to do.
Yeah,
it's really anybody can do that. But
one of the things my dad always implemented in me. He always told me like the quietest guy in the room is probably the smartest guy. You know what I'm saying? And he always raised me to not respond emotionally. Because, growing up, especially in my culture, man, like even in Belton, bro, I was very exposed to gang culture. And people are like, what? In Belton? Yeah. You know what I mean? And I wasn't legal my whole life. I came here, I extended my visa. We had to wait through the whole process. So I'm a young kid who's exposed to gang culture, who has to be very smart, because if I get deported, my whole family's going back.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And that was also one of the things that helped me a lot too in my way of thinking, because I had my whole family on my back at a very young age, because I was the only threat at that point. You know, my mom and dad were in their 30s already. They knew I was a youth. You know, I was in the youth, so that helped a lot. But fuck, man, I lost my I've done that twice already.
Being in the gangs here in Belton.
No, but I forgot what my point was, where that story was going.
We'll always be in self-control.
Self-control. But
Your
yeah,
dad taught you that.
my dad taught me that, and yeah, but I still forgot my point, man. Thank you for helping.
That's a good point in itself.
You know? Yeah.
For sure,
The
man.
gangs of Belton, bro. You got to watch out for those guys.
Look, man.
They be stealing
look,
weapons.
Man,
and
look, man. Listen, one of the guys that I was involved with is doing life in Mexico now, because he was
in
he was
Mexico.
he was a sicario.
From
Really?
Belton.
Yeah.
From Belton.
Well, he got deported.
Frick.
Yeah.
Is he doing sicario
There's-
work here?
No, down there.
Mm.
He got deported and joined. But that's what I'm saying is, like, what's sad about that story for me is that I had a bad experience with this guy. I mean, I met him in that, and he was on the other side. I mean, I met him when we were fighting, and so, but ironically, my family became friends with his family through church,
Mm.
to the point where they're friends now. Like, they're friends, and over time, I forgave all those people. You know, I forgave them. It was something stupid. It was nothing to keep fighting over. You know what I mean? So I eventually, I didn't get to talk to him because he was the first deported, but I got to talk to his older brother, who was also involved, and she actually even met him too, and we talked like nothing happened. A lot of the people that, you know, I had issues with back then, we've all already made the conclusion everyone's fine, but he got deported early, so I never got to talk to him. But it was sad to get to see him as a child and how he started, to his mistakes being the reason why he was deported, to being in Mexico without his parents, and then turning out to be, you know, joining something that
Yeah.
caused his life to, you know, do that. Because I talked to his dad, what was it, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? And I just asked him, like, hey, how, because I know both of his sons have been deported. And he's like, man, Hector's in prison for life. He's like, there's no money that I can pay to get him out. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He was like, he was hired as a sicario in Mexico. And I was like, man. And I was just reflecting. I was just reflecting in my life and, like, you know, just where I've been and, like, what the hell? Crazy how life, the trajectory and how the responsibility of your choices determines where you end up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it makes me feel, I mean, I don't know who to thank at this point, because I'm like, man.
I can tell you.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure, God. But, you know what I'm saying, in the sense of, like, my dad, or who played a role in my life that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, thank God.
Yeah.
For sure. Makes me feel blessed, because I'm like, I could have been that. I could have been deported without my father and my mom.
Yeah.
And I always have that question, man. Like, what would I have been in Mexico? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was just sharing a story of one of the guys that we did an arrest on. He was like a 22 years old, young kid, wanted for his felony drug trafficking, and possession, stuff like that. I mean, just drug stuff. And so he missed court, and we're going after him. He was in Lee's Summit. That's some Section 8 housing. And get to the door. No one comes to the door. It's an apartment. I end up picking the lock. We get in there. Of course, he's not there, but his girlfriend was like sleeping in the back room. It's like, hey, where's so-and-so? It's like, oh, he's on his way back. And I said, all right, stay in the back room. We're going to hang out here and don't call him, you know, which she actually did. It was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
You know, he comes in, and of course he's pretty belligerent, and we have to fight him and get him down on the ground, cuff him up, and throw him in the back seat. And I usually try to, you know, if they're communicable, you know, and they're talkative, I'll engage a conversation. It's like, hey, how'd you end up like with all these felony charges? Like, you know, you got lots of felonies in addition to the ones that we had him on. And he told me that at 14 years old, He's being raised by his grandmother because I'm assuming because his parents were also drug addicts or in prison or dead. Like that's just very common. So grandparents are raising him, or his grandma is. And he said at 14, his grandmother force injected him with heroin because she was a heroin addict, and now he would go out and get heroin for them both. And I was like, if not for the grace of God, I would probably be no better off than you, if not worse, if my grandmother, who's raised me, force injected me with heroin, so I would go out and deal.
Right.
You know?
That's kind of what Black Rob was talking about on our episode. He was talking about at 14, he was
introduced to meth.
He was introduced to meth through one of his girlfriends. Their parents were giving her meth, and that's how he got. Because he was saying, he was like, when you're 14 years old and you're seeing that the parents are doing it, and
that's normal,
and they're giving it to their daughter, he's like, you don't think it's that bad, but it's like, whoa, crazy,
and it sets your life in a whole different direction. But you're right. I mean, like some people, I don't know that it's much of a choice, and we just look at it from the outside and tend to sometimes judge, but we don't know what those people have been through, we might just have been more fortunate than them. Much like you're saying,
One of the things Rosie said, she carries a bear around because she calls the bear Daniel, that's her son. But she says that people see her at the airport all the time, and they're like, "What the fuck's wrong with this lady? Why is she carrying a teddy bear around?" You know what I mean? And and it's true because I was thinking about that. I'm like, like people don't even know the reasons of why people do things. You know what I'm saying?
The teddy bear actually has the heart of her son recorded in it. So if you press it, like you can hear his heartbeat.
Wow.
And she recorded that from the receiver, right?
Yeah.
So, but you definitely don't know, man. You look at situations from the outside, and you don't, that's why the only thing you can really do sometimes is just do your best, man, and try to, because you never know who you're impacted. Recently I had this guy reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, man, I know I haven't talked to you in a while. But I just want you to know, like, I've been following what you're doing. I respect what you're doing. I like the way you're carrying yourself. The way you're dressed. No gay shit." Is what he told me.
Pause.
It's what he told me. It's what he told me, right? And he's like, and just everything that you've been, doing, and I've just been going through a really hard time. Dealing with some depression, I think. And so I was hoping that, maybe we can connect, and, and I was like, man, if, my story serves you in any kind of way, then, by all means, man, you know what I'm saying? And so you just never know who you can be impacted, you know what I mean? And so there's always, an example you can set, people that you can look up to, for, just reference, and certainly for me, you guys serve as reference points. So I appreciate, your guys' presence in my life. I appreciate that God, has blessed me with just really being able to get to know you and, share some conversations in Holy Smokes, and having you guys here and the podcast, just sharing more about your story, and just sending a message. I hope that, there's people out there that can watch this episode and say, hey, there is ways, you know what I mean? We don't have to necessarily settle for this. We can do more, and so I appreciate you guys coming through the set, for real.
Yeah, thanks for having us. No, it's been good. Like I said, I tell other people at Holy Smokes sometimes, like, you guys think you need us. I need it just as much as you guys. Like, this is not a, this is something that, we want to do with other people, and just try to find guys to do this together with. Because at the end of the day, we have this very individualistic idea of following Christ, especially in America. And it's like, this is not an individualistic pursuit. We're supposed to pursue him together. Like, it's not, it's not just you off on your own. There's no such thing as a lone Christian. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's not outside the context of each other. So
that's what, I'm not sure what verse it says, where, you know, where one or two where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am, right? Yeah, and yeah, definitely. It feels like the load is definitely lighter in fellowship.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. Is there anything that you guys, like to cover? Anything that you guys feel like we maybe didn't touch on or
Missed.
No, sounds like we're getting to the end of the episode. Then we actually been shooting for about 2 hours, which
Has it
is
been
what,
2 hours?
yeah, which is about what.
That's about what you normally shoot for.
Yeah, which
Alright.
is anything more than 2 hours, it starts getting a little too lengthy and. Yeah, and so and then we covered a lot of great stuff here today, man.
Yeah.
For real, I certainly appreciate you guys taking time out of your Saturday to be here, and you know.
And anytime that you guys want to come back,
Oh yeah, I'm always game, man.
the
Yeah.
platform's open for you guys. Shoot ideas, man. We're here for it. You
Cool.
know.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely. Yeah, like maybe Steve, if you could close us out with the prayer, that'd be great, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Father God, I just want to thank you for your presence here with us tonight, and just thank you for these men that you've you brought us all together, Father, to converse about these things and share our life stories, Father, share lessons. Father, I pray you would just work in us to continually pursue you, Father, pursue Christ in all that we do, Father, that would not be something that's just segmented to Sunday or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, Father, but it would be our life's goal and mission to pursue you in all things, in our work, in our business, in our families, our communities, Father, and our hobbies, that you would be the pursuit of our hearts. Father, I pray you would just cause whatever truths were spoken by any of us here, Father, to sink in our hearts all the more. And to anyone listening, and just thank you again for this time in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank Dennis, Jonathan, and Steve for coming by. Till the next episode. See you later.
All right. Cool.